All right. Good to go. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Not podcast. What did you do?
I died and was reborn.
All right. Fair enough. Same.
What did I do?
What did you do? What have you done? What are you doing?
I watched the entirety of Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. Did you open up a can right now?
I did.
Okay. Because it came through like very clearly, like very crystal clear.
Yeah. Oh, good. You probably hear the bubbles happening now too. So
Yeah, I hear the fizzing. I hear it going
directly next to the fucking
next to the mic.
microphone.
So you watched all 8 seasons of Game of Thrones?
Is it 8?
I believe so.
Yeah. I think someone said 7 the other day. I just don't remember because I watched it really quickly.
All right. So I know Chonch usually goes on the deep dive, whenever I talk about dumb shit like Dune or Ninja Gaiden. So go ahead. Give us your TED Talk.
I'm not as in depth as you are, to be fair.
Oh no. Did you I think the better question is, did you like it?
Yeah, it was good.
Okay. What else did you do?
As I was watching it, because we had that like talk about woke shit and stuff the other week or month or whatever.
Oh man, I can't wait to talk about more woke shit.
As I was watching this, it was like a lot of like female lead positivity. Which
for the most part, yeah.
I didn't feel like it was bad, but I could see other people being like, "Oh, it's so woke." And like as I was watching, I was like, oh, I bet people are just fucking hating this shit, bro.
It's the stupid thing. We already talked about it in part of our conversation, but it's like that's the stupid thing is that like Alien can be seen as woke. It's a woke movie if it came out today. It's like a stupid argument for argument's sake. Yeah, it's dumb. But yes, continue. So are you saying that the incest was woke?
I was so uncomfortable. I was so uncomfortable.
That was the first episode, was it not? Where Bran like gets up to the tower and like he sees Cersei and Jaime giving each other sibling
episode
love.
1 or 2, yeah.
Okay.
I can't remember which one it was, but it was one of the two.
Yeah.
And then
crazy to think
the first 3 or 4 episodes, it was Khaleesi getting banged by Khal Drogo.
Oh, by Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
by Aquaman.
Honestly, man, I think just TV sex is awkward.
The thing is that like it is awkward, but I think it's also awkward in Game of Thrones because of the fact that like it's very like in your face. Yeah. But I mean, the thing with Khaleesi and Khal Drogo, it's like they start to get feelings for one another, even though at the beginning it was clearly that like her brother fucking sold her off because they're both.
Yeah. So you see the Lannister siblings having sex, and then Khaleesi goes to get sold off, and the brother touches her boob, and I was like, "Come the fuck on, bro!"
So
not
much.
All of them. All of them.
So you want to know something that I heard about like the prequel series? Incest also plays a huge part into it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Because like that's like the whole thing about like keep the bloodline pure thing.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
And like, I mean, I'm sure I know, I'm sure a lot of people know, but like that shit happened. It's not like it didn't happen.
Even in the
real thing.
But that's the thing is that like I think that's why I find Game of Thrones interesting, because it adds the fantasy shit, but also adds the gross shit about medieval life.
Yeah.
So I think that's what makes Game of Thrones really effective, especially it being like, I guess like George R.R. Martin's like best writing, but I mean that's all he's kind of known for at this point. But yeah, it's just like Game of Thrones is a very cruel world in a sense.
Yeah.
But out of all the 8 seasons, which one was your favorite?
What season was my favorite?
Yeah. Damn, bro, got to think about that. Marinate in that.
Which one was the one with the brother and sister?
Which one had the incest again?
Oh, that was such a good one. Every season.
Every season had the incest.
Every season with the pretty much, man. Yeah. It's crazy because like, which one made me like
not want to talk to any of your siblings ever again?
Which one made me the happiest?
Or like which one
was? I'm trying to think
like what made you satisfied in a sense?
The one that got me.
Okay, I think
I was so angry.
I think the better question is, what was an episode that you feel like is your highlight? I think instead of summing it down to like one season with multiple episodes, I feel like maybe one episode specifically.
Because I don't think really an episode or a season really highlighted anything for me.
Mm-hmm.
It was all just like one continuous story, obviously.
Yeah,
and I think that's what made the show good. Was it didn't feel like it broke into a different series or something, or it didn't feel like something didn't belong until the last 2 seasons, which a lot of people said were going to be bad.
Yeah, I've always heard that the last 2 seasons like become a mess because it's just like we have too many characters we're trying to focus on, and it's gotten to the point where it's becoming jumbled.
Yeah.
But that's funny enough because like the rest of the season were kind of like that because you had like Arya with her journey, you had Tyrion with his thing, and then you had Jon Snow with his thing. But those were the core members of that, show. But this is coming from somebody that didn't watch the last 2 seasons, so I barely know.
With Arya though, so like I'll say that Arya is my favorite character.
She's cool. Yeah,
she is my favorite character. With like you were saying, like it felt kind of broken up because they all moved to different places.
Mm-hmm. They all got separated.
When Arya went away to go learn how to become a better fighter, basically, that felt right for her character. So I was like, it's good on them for like not being like, it didn't rush anything, right? She actually had to take time and like learn and like blah blah blah. And then of course Sansa just constantly being trapped in shit marriages was like her super shitty cross to bear. I'm gonna try to move this monitor really quickly.
Wow, can't believe he's moving.
So like obviously like she was like the prisoner character for sure. Like never got to like do anything her own.
Yeah, I think that was like the major complaint that I've heard about Sansa specifically is that like she didn't really have anything to do. But you have to think about it from her perspective as well. It's just like, what do you do in a situation like that?
Yeah.
Because first of all, Joffrey is a fucking freak. Like, what do you expect her to do? To kill him? And then what?
Do you know how old he was when he was playing that character?
I think he might have been like nearing his 20s.
Because
probably the same age as Sansa.
What a good fucking actor. I hated that guy.
You know what's crazy? That was like his first and last thing he did was that show. He hasn't done acting at all.
I would assume maybe he didn't want to. I don't know why he wouldn't want to do something, but I would like think that people wanted him to probably play another bad character.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to keep doing that.
That's the unfortunate part because like that happens to a lot of TV stars that play villains is that they get typecast into a lot of shit. We talked about this with like Giancarlo Esposito, Gus Fring.
Oh yeah,
Gus Fring. Like everything that he's in, it's like either bad guy or serious guy, and that's basically it. But
he always still seems like Gus Fring.
That's the problem. Is that like, what other thing can you do? And it's like, no, it's just Gus Fring. But before he did Breaking Bad, he was in like Spike Lee movies, and he was like,
really?
yeah, he was what was it, bugging out? I forget his character's name, but like he was a character in Do the Right Thing. But yeah, there's a whole like story with Giancarlo Esposito where like after that little bit of like the early 90s, early 2000s, like he wasn't really getting work, and it wasn't until like Breaking Bad that kind of like brought him back. And but that was like kind of the curse and the blessing, is that like the show propped him up so well, but after the show it's just like, okay, you've finished doing evil guy, come over here to this show and do evil guy. And it's just like, all right, cyclical shit. But on the topic of both Joffrey and I want to say Cersei as well, those were the two characters that got the most hate. And I feel bad for Lena Headey, the lady who plays Cersei, because she got like the brunt end of that shit. Like,
what a piece of shit she was, though.
Oh my god, yeah, she's fantastic as Cersei, because I think that's the reason why I liked Game of Thrones so much, is because of the fact that these characters are written to the point that they evoke an emotion out of you. And it does, and that's what usually grabs me with certain things, is that like if a piece of media is able to get an emotion out of me, its writing is doing something good. But yeah, it's just like she got like a shit ton of hate, and she's like gone into like interviews and stuff like that, like, you know, reminding people, I'm not the character. And she's like, I didn't write the character, but first of all, I'm not the character. And people who've worked with her are like, no, she's like a wonderful person. It's like, she's super nice. But yeah, the kid who played Joffrey is like, he's also fantastic as well, because he's just like, he's very well. Yeah, because he's just so cruel. He's so cruel.
Yeah, I mean, all of them were great actors. Jon Snowboy was good.
Yeah.
Arya was good. I think the only person I was like, was the one that breaks his legs.
Oh, Bran.
Yeah, he was fine. Like,
yeah,
but I think like maybe the writing didn't allow for him to really do anything with it, because he's got to be like, I have to save the world. I have to save the world. And then he goes, becomes the three-eyed raven. Then he's like, I'm saving the world. I'm saving the world. It's like, they don't give him room for emotion.
I'm curious as to like if that might have been a writing problem, like nearing the end of like they didn't really develop Bran that much.
They did not develop him. Is 100%.
Okay. Yeah, because like it's weird, because like I never felt anything with Bran, because even though Bran is kind of like the thing that kind of sets everything off, essentially, because of like, okay, why was Bran up in the tower? What is going on with the whole thing with Ned Stark, of just like, you know, what is happening? Why are these?
Really like to see them make Bran more of a hero character.
Yeah, and I think that's what they were trying to do, but they kind of like fumbled it towards the end.
Like when you see him gets the what's it called? Jaime Lannister gives him is it Jaime Lannister? No, it's Tyrion. Tyrion the dwarf?
Yeah, Peter Dinklage.
Yeah. Is his name Tyrion though?
Yeah, Tyrion.
What's the father's name? Do you remember?
Tywin.
Okay, so they're very close. That's why. So when Tyrion gives Bran the schematics for how to make a horse for his legs.
Oh yeah.
Horse saddle for his legs. He's like, there was one made for some other guy or whatever. He's like, this should be able to like get you on a horse. And then they got him on a horse, and you see him on the horse, and he's happy, and he's like, I'll never be able to shoot a bow. And he's like, you can do that from horseback. And he's like, I can? And they're like, of course you can. He's like, what? And he's like, and you might be the best archer ever. Like, these things are like the thing that I was like, oh, it's like, this is a good like thing for him to be able to do now. Like, now he's gonna be able to fight. Now he's gonna be able to participate in this whole thing, you know? And I'm like, cool. Like, I want Bran to be this cool character that we get to see. And then they throw him into being like this, he's got to go into the woods and the blah blah blah. But like,
yeah, essentially like a prophet character.
Robb Stark becoming the brother that's going to win the wars, and I'm like, oh shit, like Robb's dope. And then you have the Red Wedding, and I'm like, come on, man.
So I think for me personally, the episodes that really like fuck me up to this day is the death of Ned Stark. That one fucks me up.
Bro, it pissed me off so much.
Yes, that's why. The Red Wedding, and oh god, what was the other one? It'll come back to me at some point, but like I there's another one that like maybe like just like, oh my god, like really, like we're doing this. Um. Pedro Pascal dying.
I wasn't. So nobody told me. I've heard a lot about Game of Thrones before I watched it,
Mm,
and a lot of it hasn't stuck because I was like, I don't care about the show.
yeah.
It's, whatever. The Red Wedding stuck.
Yeah.
So as that was nearing, I kept like looking for it. I was like, what?
When is this happening?
None of the episodes
Where?
are labeled Red
Wedding,
Wedding. So I
yeah.
was like, where does this happen? And then when he dies, I'm like, this is it. And
Yeah.
I got so unhappy. I was like, this fucking sucks.
Oh,
And I was like, this is why people didn't like it.
yeah, because it's that was the thing about this show is that like it appealed to a major audience because of having sex, dragons, and magic.
Yeah.
Like this is the big appeal to bring in a general audience, but because of certain things that happen within the narrative that don't feel satisfying is what upsetted a lot of people, especially the Red Wedding, because it's like because that's what that show does, and that's why I think it's effective at times. Because I would have to read the book because I would assume the book happens in the same way because I'm pretty sure they went through the books for the most part up until the end. But it's just like that feeling of like they're in this cruel, evil world, there might be hope. And you're given Rob because of him being the eldest, and it's like, okay, hopefully Rob is able to he's dead. He's dead now. He's dead. Oh my god, they killed his wife.
So cool, man. He had the title The Young Wolf.
Yes, like they had like cool shit. Like they had cool shit. They built up this character only for them to be like, no, he's dead now. I'm stabbing him.
And then he had the hot ass wife.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, dude, this dude's
he's gonna have he's gonna have a kid. The kid might be a cool kid, and it's like, nope.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's like, nope. This fucking show just like
and then
nobody's safe.
Dude is like, oh, it's okay, you don't want to marry my daughter. And I'm like, oh, this dude's fucking like he's weird.
Yeah.
He's a little annoying.
Yeah, he's
like,
very bizarre, but
but he's like, whatever. And then they kill him, and I'm like,
oh,
bro, if I'm Arya and I hear about this, I'm finding you. And then Arya does find him, and she murders him.
Yeah,
and I was like, yo, Arya.
There's
again, Arya's so good.
I think that's what the show also does effectively is that like when a person is going after vengeance and once they achieve their vengeance, it feels satisfying because of like the way it gets to that point. Because like even then, like I was mentioning, like the show builds you up for this whole thing of like there might be hope for certain things. There might be hope of like, okay, maybe we might be able to get out of the situation. But I think the show establishes perfectly when Ned Stark dies, when he is executed, because of the things that Ned knows. And you feel like when you're going through that show that like, oh, Ned might be the guy that, might save this whole situation. And no, he's executed. And it's like, where the fuck does that go now?
Yeah.
I do appreciate like good shit like that. I was just like, oh, the guy that you think is the protagonist, not the protagonist. Fucking murked.
He was still protagonist.
He
wasn't the.
Yeah, he wasn't the protagonist.
Yeah,
he was multiple protagoni, but
so who Snow is technically the protagonist of the whole thing?
I don't know, because like it gets to the point of like there are so many characters that you're following that like the people who you're following are essentially the protagonists because they have their own story that they're going with.
It's crazy because it feels like Tyrion.
Tyrion is kind of the I would say okay I with that I kind of agree with you on that Tyrion feels a little bit more protagonistic than the others.
Yeah.
Because of the shit that he goes through specifically.
Well, he's always like, of course he like doesn't want his family to die, but
the thing is that
he's
like
also willing to say they're wrong,
Yeah. And I think that's why
I know they're not right, but please don't kill my brother and sister.
Yeah, because that's the thing that I like about Tyrion is that like he sees people to a fault. He knows that he's also a person with faults. Yeah. But that whole thing of just like when he actually kills Tywin is like that thing that it's like for me personally is like in the back of my head of just like, what are you gonna do now? Like you just committed patricide to a very, very important person. Like, what do you what do you do now?
You leave.
Yeah. And that's what he has to do. He has to leave. He goes on his own journey.
It doesn't even matter. Even if he didn't kill him, he still had to run.
Yeah.
Like no matter what, he had to run. So, when he walks in, his girlfriend was sleeping with his dad.
Yeah.
That was unfortunate. And yeah, Shay, that's her name.
Shay, yeah.
And he's like, Shay, and she turns around and he just kills her. I was like, yeah.
Like I said,
it's a fucking disappointment, man.
It's a cruel, cruel world. The world of Game of Thrones. It's cruel.
It's wild that like the dad is like doing that because it's basically to get back at him.
Yeah.
So, like,
yeah.
What a like.
Because wasn't Tyrion going to marry her? Like, wasn't that a thing too?
He knew he couldn't.
Yeah, but like he had the intentions of like.
He wanted to eventually, but the eventually is like when. Right?
Yeah, and then the whole thing was that his dad knew about that, and his dad was just like, "I'm going to prove you wrong." Like essentially.
No. His dad, he married a whore when he was young, and that's the story he tells everybody. Which his dad then has her executed.
Mm-hmm.
The old one from like back in the day, and then he falls in love with Shay, and then he's like, "Hey, my dad will kill you. Like, you have to not let them know you're here." So she like lies about everything. Of course, like they know. I'm sure somebody knows at some point, but she stays safe most of the time until that. And I don't know if the word poetic is right, but like it's kind of poetic that he has to be the one to kill her, or ironic, or whatever. Like it's kind of.
I would say it's tragic.
Yeah, there you go.
It's more tragic.
Poetic.
There's a poetry to tragedy.
Yeah. True. But anyways, him having to kill her ends up being like just wild in general.
Yeah.
And then him like holding the crossbow to his dad, and his dad's like, "Oh, it's fine. Like, let's just go have a drink. I was never gonna kill you." Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Yes, he was. Yeah. And the whole time I was watching, I was like, "Don't believe it. Please stop. Just kill him. Kill him, because you're never gonna be free of this unless he dies."
Yeah. That's the thing. It's like there are little things in that show of just like someone has to die in order for this other person to be free. Like that is how that works. Is that some of these people are chained to these evil people, and there's the only way they can get out is to kill them. But like I was mentioning with like Sansa, is just like she can't do anything because it's like it's either die or die. That's all I could do.
Yeah. When the Hound shows up in his first episode, I can't remember if it's his first episode. I just remember him fighting his brother at the jousting competition.
Mm-hmm.
His brother, like, he gets knocked off or something, or he does something to somebody.
Yeah.
And then the Hound comes out and he's like, maybe he isn't fighting him, is he? I think he comes down and fights him. But when you meet the Hound, I'm like, oh, that guy seems like he's like, for some reason, I was like, it feels like he's a good guy. I don't know why. I just think he's gonna be a good dude. And then he goes through like some story with him, and like,
doesn't
you feel like maybe he's a bad guy? Then you're like,
yeah,
he just wants to kill people.
Doesn't Arya go through a whole journey with him too?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So then he meets up, or they join each other. The Hound is more like, you're coming with me, like you're not.
Yeah.
You're not going to be by yourself. And I was like, like at least he's helping her maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And then like his whole thing is like, he's like, oh, your parents will pay like a nice price to get you back. Like,
yeah,
I just want to, but you can tell like kind of like, oh, he seems like he wants to keep her safe. And then as their story progresses, he basically becomes the like surrogate father, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
and that's the irony of that too, because like the Hound was the one that executed Ned, right?
No, I don't think he executed him. I think it was another person, but I don't think he tried to stop it.
Okay.
And then when the war is going on, and you think that Joffrey is gonna lose, the Hound goes to Sansa's room, and he's like, "I'm leaving. You're coming with me." And Sansa's like, I don't know, maybe, and then they cut away and you don't know what happens. And
I
then you
don't
see
know,
Sansa
maybe.
stayed.
Oh.
Sansa stayed, and then later on, the Hound meets up again and with Sansa and them, and the Hound was like, "If you would have came with me, none of that shit that happened to you would have happened. I would have made sure of it."
Mhm.
And she's just like, "Yeah, I think I need to go through it, basically."
Mhm.
And then like everyone was like, "Ha ha ha, okay, that sucks. You got raped, by the way, and also almost murdered, and like all these like multiple other things," which is like, again, like, fucking A, man. Sansa's story is so sad.
Yeah, it's fucked.
Like,
From
I
from what
hated
I
every moment of that shit.
yeah, from what I remember, it was fucked. But like, I didn't see like what happens later on. Obviously, um,
Mm.
yeah.
You didn't
So,
see the stuff with her marrying the Bolton?
oh, Ramsey,
Yeah,
fucking Ramsey.
yeah.
Okay,
Ramsay literally replaces Joffrey.
yeah. That's the thing. Everyone is either fucked up, they're fucking psychos, or they're like they have ulterior motives, so they have to like join up with the psychos. It's like I think the biggest perpetrator of having ulterior motives is Littlefinger.
I hate him so much too.
Yeah. So
Him
he
and the Whisper dude, Varys.
oh Varys, yeah. The eunuch.
Okay. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
annoying. So now that we were going through more of this, the episode that stuck with me so hard that I
Almost stopped
I
watching.
hate it. I hate it. I hate this episode, but it is like probably one of the best episodes in the show.
Mhm.
Is when I keep wanting to call him Theo Vaughn. It's
Oh,
Theon.
Theon Greyjoy, yeah.
Yeah, Theon Greyjoy, when he gets captured by Ramsay,
Mhm.
and Ramsay is like, "Come on, I'm gonna get you out tonight," and he's like, "Okay," and then he takes him out and he helps him escape, and then he takes him back into this tunnel, and he's like, you're someone's gonna help you here or whatever," and he's like, "Huh?" And then you see the place that the board he was stuck to before, and he goes, "What? No, 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 no!" And Ramsay's like, "Ha ha ha," like laughing maniacally
Yeah.
type shit, and just
Yeah.
puts him back on the board.
They're
And I
just
was like,
psychos.
"Bro,
Yeah.
that's a fucking like break your fucking mental thing."
Yeah. That like
That's
fucks you up.
crazy.
That fucks you up. That really fucks you up. No,
Ramsay really knew how to fuck with people.
because it's the crazy thing. Because like you had Cersei, you had Joffrey, and then you had Ramsey, and like they're all, well, yeah, they're all psycho. They're all psycho
Yeah.
in their own way. So it's just like, but Ramsey was just like, oh man, Ramsey did some heinous shit.
I did not like Ramsay. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody did. Nobody did either. Yeah, nobody did.
Watching him die was super like therapeutic.
I forget how he dies.
They have the battle, Jon Snow,
Oh.
and the Wildlings fights, and then
Mhm.
Littlefinger's now Vale army comes and saves the day, basically.
Yeah.
They win that war. Ramsay goes into being captured. In the beginning of the war, like Ramsay had said, like, "My hounds haven't eaten in 7 days," and they're very hungry. What he points to like Jon Snow or somebody. He's like, "You're gonna be their dinner or whatever."
Yeah.
So once they capture him, they give him to the hounds, and Ramsay's like, My hounds would never eat me." And Sansa goes, "You said it yourself. They haven't eaten in 7 days. They don't care anymore who you are."
Mhm.
And then one of the hounds is like licking him, and he goes, "Down, down, sit, sit." And then you just hear, "Oh," and he starts getting ripped apart.
Oh,
And I
cool.
was like, "Oh." And they cut away, and I'm like, "Don't cut away."
Let
I
that
wanna
shit
watch him
stay.
die.
Yeah, let
Yeah.
that shit stay.
The worst part of that whole thing was they captured not Bran, but the other brother, not Rob, not Bran, the middle child.
Oh.
I don't remember his name.
Yeah, I forgot they had another sibling.
Yeah. And Ramsay says, "Now go run to Jon Snow." And the brother starts running, and Ramsay probably is purposefully missing his arrows
Hmm.
because he's shooting arrows at him as he runs. And then right before he makes it to Jon Snow, gets an arrow like right through his neck or something, and he just dies on the battlefield. So then that makes Jon Snow start riding at him, and they knew they weren't supposed to go head on into him.
Mhm.
They had to let Ramsay come into them to let them win, and that's how they start losing the battle. And then that's when the Veil comes, and the Veil saves the day. Like I said,
Mhm. Yeah.
I liked watching Ramsay get fucked off.
Get fucked. Yeah.
Or get fucked up. Yeah,
Yeah.
fucked off.
Yeah.
Fucked on. I was getting fucked.
I think going back to like shit that fucked me up, Pedro Pascal dying
Yeah. Yep.
from the mountain.
That was one of them too.
That one fucks me up because it's just like it has that buildup of like this guy's gonna get his vengeance for what that motherfucker did to his sister, and then you know this motherfucker's being like, I don't remember his sister, I know nothing of her, and then just like him basically fucking taking out his eyeballs and being like, yeah, I remember your sister, and she cried like that. I'm like, oh my god, like holy shit,
Yeah.
it was brutal. It was
But to
incredibly
be
brutal.
fair, he should have just fucking killed him.
He should have. Yeah, he should have. That was his fault. That was 100% his fault.
Pedro Pascal was a really cool character until he wasn't.
Yeah, until his head exploded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His fighting was cool as fuck. The dancing shit.
Yeah, it was cool.
So
That's the
fucking cool,
thing. Like, here are these cool characters. Oh, he's fucking dead now. His head exploded.
Yeah, I was super annoyed. The sister, whoever his love interest was at the time,
Oh, his wife.
his wife was like, her scream was really.
It's
good, by the
it's
way.
horrifying.
It's like heartbreaking for sure.
It's
yeah.
haunting because it's like
Yeah.
you're seeing the person you love explode
Yeah.
right in
She
front
did-
of you.
She did a really good job though, because a lot of people would just phone it in and be like, "Oh,
Oh
you
my
know, or-
god! Yeah,
oh
yeah.
my god!"
Yeah, no,
But
like
she
that was
just
a that was a guttural scream.
Yeah, she was literally. She was like
Literally.
like,
Cool. She was hitting the
actually
gwitty.
sad. It sounded like she
Yeah.
was literally hitting the
Gwitty.
Yo, what if
What if someone was hitting
Pedro Pascal came out and he's like,
as part of his dance fighting? Oh my
that
god.
would actually be a really funny like SNL skit or something. Like,
Yeah, that'd be pretty good.
what did you do to my sister?
Oh man. I was gonna say if he gets back onto like SNL, like somebody pitches that idea. Just to
Nah, they would do
relive
Gladiator.
relive
They
the
would do
trauma.
Gladiator.
Oh yeah, I should really watch Gladiator 2.
I don't think you should.
Did you see it?
No.
Oh,
I just
okay.
heard it's bad.
Yeah, I just hear it's not great. And it's funny too because
Yeah.
it's like the most money that Ridley Scott has put into a movie.
I didn't care about Gladiator 1 though. Like so many people were like, it's so good.
I like Gladiator 1. It's not like the best movie in the world,
Yeah.
but it's still pretty enjoyable. And like obviously it is iconic because it's like, you know, the fucking are you not entertained?
Yeah. So it's probably peak cinema for the time or something like that.
At the
But
time, yeah, because it was a shit ton of money that went into that fucking movie.
Did you see people complaining about Tron recently?
The new one? The new one that's going to
Yeah.
come out?
Yeah.
Ares? Yeah, no. What I've seen is the complaint about the new Naked Gun.
Oh, it looks bad.
I haven't seen the
Also,
trailer.
why pick him?
To be fair, Liam Neeson can do comedy while keeping a straight face.
I
He's
don't like Liam Neeson.
yeah, Liam Neeson is a little weird because of the whole. I don't think he's ever like came back from the whole thing of the black bastard shit.
Uh-huh.
So it's a little odd. But still, I don't know. Like black. I was out there looking for a black bastard. It's like, don't you agree? And it's like everybody's like, no, Liam, no. What are you saying? What are you saying?
Please make more movies and stop talking.
And then take more pictures with people where you're pissed drunk and actually pissing your pants.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very bizarre, but obviously they're doing it just to rake in money because nostalgia.
Nostalgia.
That's the whole point. It's just to do that. I love the first Naked Gun. I love that movie, even though it is a little problematic because of O.J. Simpson now.
I mean, I think the dude, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. the guy-
Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
Yeah, he's great.
And that's why I'm saying like to take his like basically his baby, his movies, and turn them into what is this guy's name? Nielsen or something again?
Leslie Neeson. I mean Liam Neeson. Excuse me. I
Liam
got
Neeson.
the L. Yeah.
Yeah, LN.
Yeah.
Liam Neeson taking over is like, to me, like a kick in the pants, you know? Like,
It's
this
weird.
dude so good. The other guy was so good.
It's weird because it's just like I don't think the Zucker brothers are working on movies anymore. I think they're retired. That was the original writers of Naked Gun, of Airplane, and Top Secret. The Zucker brothers. Oh, I don't think your mic is on.
My bad. I said the
Okay.
Zucker brothers, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think they're making movies anymore, and it's just I don't think I saw anything of like who the writers are for this,
I
but
think it's because I zucked it already.
they probably zucked it. So I don't know. Like I don't really care, to be quite honest, of like going to see the Naked Gun movie.
No.
No, I don't know. That's all I can say. I don't know. But anyways, Game of Thrones.
Yeah. The whole ending part where Jon Snow has to kill Khaleesi was like,
Oh yeah, that reveal too. That like Jon Snow is technically like what the fuck are they called? Targaryen?
Mhm.
Yeah, like he's like Khaleesi's technically his aunt. And it's like
I wasn't mad about that happening.
Bring it
like,
back.
That's fine.
Bring back the incest.
Yeah. Although I will say, thank God for Jon Snow being an actual human being. He was like, yeah, I can't bang you no more.
Yeah, I can't do
And
that. We
she
can't
was
do
like,
this.
of course, she was like, why? Why can't we? And it's like,
Because you're
yeah,
crazy.
maybe she does have to die. But like
Because
the
you're
whole
crazy.
time that like she was like, if you don't bend the knee, you have to die, blah 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 blah. People will never trust me. And I was like, honestly, she does have to die. Because she'll never trust Jon Snow. That's the truth. And
Yeah.
then she'll probably want to kill him. She'll become Cersei. The whole, and this is like, some people were like, oh, like, I don't like how this happened. But like, the truth is like, the way the story was going is kind of like, this all did need to happen. She did need to become another bad guy, technically, because it shows what she was working for, which is break the wheel. She was slowly becoming the wheel again because she wanted one to be the ruler. And what you needed was for somebody to show you that you don't need a ruler. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of democracy and bullshit. That's why you have a president, because they're not ruling you.
They're working with the people.
Right. So yeah, theoretically, whatever.
Yeah.
Woo!
Really so dating ourselves now.
Right. Yeah. You need you need
woke.
A democracy, essentially.
Yeah.
So that's what they were going for. And then at the end, when she dies, and then Jon Snow is basically going to jail, they're like, cool, now we can vote on who the ruler is going to be. And then they vote, and then Sansa becomes Canada. So
yeah,
I
feel bad for Jon Snow.
Why?
He had a hottie wildling lady, and then she got fucking murked.
She's so hot. She's so hot. And my friends, like, I was talking to my friends who have watched the show, and they're like, "Her? You would choose her?" And
oh
like, yeah,
man,
no.
I had a huge crush on her.
Right?
Yeah.
And then they were like, Jon Snow married her in real life, and I'm like,
oh yeah, they did.
Too,
yeah, I forgot they did. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
yeah. Her, like, the person who is obviously marryable. Ew.
Yeah. I was like,
gay.
She's attractive. Well, no, I can say it's the same thing. So with those friends particularly, they're always like, "But she doesn't have big titties," and I'm like,
"And
okay, I mean, it's not every.
It's not the end of the
reason.
world,
right?
Okay,
I'm like, all right, whatever.
Ew, gay.
I can't remember who the fuck they were saying was like their pick for female choice. Like, obviously, like who they would.
Oh man, I had a huge crush on like a lot of those characters too. Like,
I think Khaleesi was pretty cute.
yeah, Wildling Lady,
Yeah.
the tall lady, what's her name? The one that hangs out with Jamie.
Oh, I really love that part of the whole show.
Yeah.
Them both
Them
kind of
kind of
coming
bonding,
together.
yeah.
Yeah.
Them kind of
It made me
bonding.
so sad when he was like, I have to leave for my sister. I was like, please
Stop.
being a dick. And
Yeah.
then also like him and what's his sister's name?
Cersei.
Cersei. Him and Cersei dying in the rocks. I was like, what a shit way to go, bro. You could have done so much better.
It's weird because it's like, I think that is also kind of a thing of poor writing as well, because of the fact that it felt like the entire time Jamie was under like the whims of his sister most of the time. But
Yeah.
you kind of have to take it to the point of like, all right, he had kids with her, so he technically loves her. But I feel like there would have been a point where Jamie like realizes that like, all right, I'm not under her spell anymore. Like, I'm my own person. I don't need to be with her. But
Yeah,
it never, yeah,
it could be bad writing, but at the same time, like, just because you don't want something to happen doesn't mean it shouldn't happen. You know,
yeah,
like, it's something that I have a hard time grasping with actual human people, with actual people in the world. Like,
mhm.
probably my entire life is like, you watch somebody like stand 10 toes down about something where they're like, no, this is real or something, or like the people that are like, this is probably like a good example. Somebody says they saw aliens. Okay, you saw aliens.
Mhm.
Okay, they come back and they say it again. They say it again. They say it again. People are mocking him online, making fun of them, telling them they're crazy. Okay, they go to an institution. At any point in this time, they could have just stopped and been like, I didn't actually see them.
Mhm.
And not have to be locked up and put into an institution.
So
You know what I'm saying? Like, your
yeah,
convictions are so strong
yeah,
that like you just have to stick with what
whether
you
what you want
refuse to budge.
to, yeah.
And like that's kind of like, for me, like I'd be like, never mind, I didn't see them.
Yeah, I would say the person that sticks to their guns is Cersei.
Yeah, but I'm saying the same thing can be said about the brother.
Yeah,
Because
Jamie.
like he you can see he clearly wants to help people,
Mhm.
but he, again, this is the thing you see with Tyrion as well. It's the whole family.
Yeah.
They love their family, and it's very clearly displayed by them going, I love my family.
Family.
Because they refuse to, they say it in like every episode. It feels like they say it every
Yeah.
episode. Or I would do anything for my family. And by the way, Cersei saying that like seriously got to me, because it was almost every episode she'd be like, but my family. And I'm
My
like,
family.
nobody cares about your family, bitch. You
Yeah,
do.
only you do.
And
Yeah.
like, I get it, you birthed the kids, but like you also birthed monsters. Your fault.
Yeah.
Nobody else's.
Essentially, yeah.
Also, like a
Like
witch told you they were gonna die.
that. I think the main thing is that was specifically with the Lannisters, it's basically self-preservation. That's all it is. They use use the excuse of caring for my family as a way to say no. Self-preservation for the Lannister line.
Yeah.
That's all it was. Oh man.
Once her third child dies, it becomes a free for all of power.
She
doesn't care anymore.
We're talking about like Robb being so cool. I had a crush on Robb as well. Like Robb, I really
He's cool.
yeah. I had a crush on Robb, and then he fucking died. He got fucking murdered.
Robb was literally like the coolest fucking.
Because they built him up so cool, and I was like, man, it's so cool.
They were like, my name's Robb
He's like,
Stark, and I'm gonna own this world.
He's the oldest.
He has Stannis Bartholomew.
Baratheon.
Baratheon.
Yeah.
He had Stannis Baratheon behind him too.
Yeah,
and
like
his army was fucking pretty huge.
That's what I'm saying. Is that like they did this whole thing of like he's handsome. He's the oldest. He's fucking cool. He has a cool ass name. Fucking everybody's with him.
So cool.
He's like everybody's got his back, and he's got their back. And then nope, fucking dead, murdered.
Yeah, I did like the wildling guy, by the way. The redheaded dude.
Oh yeah,
when he was like, I back Jon Snow, I was like, dude, fuck yes, man.
Yeah.
Like, thank you for fucking just having the boys back, dude. Also, they killed Jon Snow. Like, And then the kid, he was one of them to
I
stab him,
I
bro.
was about to say, how did he get resurrected?
Magic.
Oh yeah, I forget.
Like
Like the world is magic.
the redheaded chick, she was the fire goddess's mouthpiece, or the fire god's
I
mouthpiece.
forgot about that lady.
Yeah.
Yeah, the crazy witch lady. Yeah.
Yeah. She was. Someone was like, "Could you bring him back to life?" And she's like, "I don't know, maybe." And then she tries it.
I forget. She gave
She's
birth to
like, "I
like
can't believe I did it."
she gave birth to like a shadow demon, and who'd she kill again?
Stannis Baratheon.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You're right. Wasn't
Yeah, Stannis
Stannis
was the gay
gay?
one, right?
Yeah. Wasn't Stannis gay?
He was gay with the
Oh, with the
brother of the sister that was going to marry into Cersei's
Joffrey.
family.
Yeah.
Not Joffrey. Oh no, it was Joffrey.
Yeah,
Right.
she married Joffrey, and then Joffrey died, and then the
And
brother.
then she married the brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, by the
Also,
way,
like, he was a good character. I thought he was going to be a cool kid, and then he.
because he wasn't crazy like Joffrey.
Yeah, but like then the mom was like,
He-
he was too easy
I-
manipulated. Is what it was.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I like about Cersei, and that's why I mentioned of like her sticking to her guns is just like she's manipulative as fuck, and she, you know, the whole excuse of my family is like no, Lannister. Think
Yeah,
about the
and when she
Lannister.
introduced the church into the city, and then that ruined them. I was like, it's your
Which,
fault.
by the way, the shame nun lady,
Mhm.
also very attractive, also very hot. I don't know if you've seen her in like any interviews.
No, I'd have to go.
Oh my god,
She
that
was
woman
fucking annoying.
that woman
when
is gorgeous.
When Cersei locked her in the dungeon thing, and she
Mm.
was like, "Repent, repent." I was like, "This is the only time I think I ever would have been at Cersei too. 'Cause I would have locked that bitch to a thing, and I would have been like, hmm.
Just staring.
oh, I would have got a chair because they don't have anything to do back in these days.
Yeah, they're just chill.
Sat there reading fucking whatever the fuck a book, any book. I would have something that she wouldn't. I would fucking go find the fucking
just marinate in it
reverse
essentially
version of the Bible and read that to that bitch every day and been like, so do you remember chapter 1, episode 3, whatever the fuck it is? You know, like
it's like Star Trek.
Do you remember when the devil slid his fingers into her stomach and killed her?
Do you remember when Kirk fought that reptile thing?
I would have been. I'm petty, bro.
Yeah,
like, I am petty, bro.
Yeah, no, that adds a little bit more depth to those characters because most of them are petty. Most of them are very petty people.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
When she did that, bro, I was on her wavelength at that point. I was like, yes, I get it, Cersei. Let's do this.
Damn, man, that's the thing about that show is just like there's a lot of good shit, and it's just like it's a shame that like it kind of like fumbled to the end point.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think the ending was too bad. I think the show entirely, as an entire thing, was fine.
Mm-hmm.
And the ending thing, you can be upset about it, yes, but like at the end of the day, it's actually not as bad as people were making it out to be.
Yeah.
And maybe that's because I got to watch it in one big go.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I don't know. I just don't think that it was too terrible.
Like it wasn't like the worst thing you saw. Like it had problems. Yeah.
I didn't like that he had to kill her, but like, did you like that? Like, did you like when Robb Stark died? No. Did you like when this person died? No.
Yeah. Because there are upsetting things within that story, and like obviously the fact of it not being a traditional like, you know, fairy fantasy and like tale. That's the whole point. Is that like it's darker. It's a dark fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the problem of like doing adaptations for books specifically, and especially when they're not finished. You kind of have to take a leap of faith, and it's like you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, because it's like, all right, the book's not done. What are we gonna do? Not continue the show? The show is doing so well in numbers.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I wish the only thing I do wish is it was 10 episodes per season. And they cut it for the last 2 seasons, and I was like, I would have liked more episodes. I also think I would have liked one more season in there, where that season was more heavily explaining the White Walker and the children, the godchildren people.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because like there's a lot of lore shit that like doesn't really get explained that much.
I actually think it might have needed a season or 2 more to get that more explained. Also, like the White Walker fighting was like this is where because it was those like last things, it felt like it was rushed.
Hmm.
They were like, do the White Walker, let's get it done.
Hmm.
Cersei, one of her, not Cersei, sorry. What is the girl's name?
Think.
White hair chick, called Drogo.
Oh,
Khaleesi.
Daenerys. Yeah.
Her dragon did need to die, at least one.
Mhm.
And then the second one dying was like, damn, she really like. I'm not gonna lie, when the second one died, I was like, are they going to be able to win? Because I actually think if they don't have the dragons, they lose.
Yeah.
Like, don't think you win without a dragon. And then she wins, and I love seeing that guy lose his fleet. Fuck that guy. But the part where like it kind of becomes clear that she had to die, Khaleesi. Like, I'm trying to think when there was a part before. I remember thinking like she's going to die, but it
Mhm.
was before she killed all the people in the castle.
Mhm.
But it becomes very clear to you that they're gonna have to kill her, or she's gonna have to be stopped when she kills everybody in the castle.
Okay, because I'm curious about that. Because obviously, I didn't get to the end. I don't know the story stuff as much. What was Daenerys's turning point? Because it felt like Daenerys was kind of set up to also be a hero.
She wanted to probably either, I can't remember what season, but I think it was the last two seasons. She kept talking
Mm.
about like, why should I go and kill these White Walkers when I can go kill Cersei? I don't want to have an enemy to fight now and later. I'm gonna have less of an army basically.
Mm.
And Cersei, they went to Cersei and asked her for help against White Walkers, and Cersei was like, "No, like that's just not even real." And then they bring her
It's fake
a White
news.
Walker. They bring her a White Walker, and she goes, "Okay, we'll help," and then lied.
Okay.
Didn't bring her army there. She was like, and when Jamie asks her, "Well, why aren't you going to go help fight the fight the White Walkers?" She says, I'll let them fight, and then the loser can come fight me. They'll have less of a force, which is not true, because if the White Walkers wouldn't dumb bitch, they will raise everybody that they've just killed and have a larger army. You are
Yeah,
stupid.
these are zombies.
Also, they will now have 3 dragons.
Zombie dragons, possibly.
No, they are zombie dragons.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So there you go.
Yeah. So one of Khaleesi's dragons dies to the White Walker. That's the first one that dies, and it becomes a zombie dragon.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
that's a fun fight, by the way.
Mhm.
And then, do you know who kills the White Walkers?
No.
Arya.
Huh. Okay.
So the White Walkers are a hive mind, and if you kill the leader, everything else dies.
Okay.
Again, not super well explained. The way they explain that is, I think either Jon Snow or someone else in his party kills one of the leaders of the White Walkers. So there's a head of the White Walker, and then there's like,
Oh, there's
what are they called?
branches, like generals.
There's a generals. So he kills one of the generals, and then you watch a fleet of White Walkers die, which are like the zombies. And he's like, "Did you see what happened when I killed that guy?" And he's like,
See
"Yeah,
that
the rest of
shit?
them like stopped like working." He's like, "I bet if we kill the main one, we win."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, that was it. That was the extent of that conversation. There was no more on that."
Okay.
So,
Oh, I had another question. What is the purpose of leaving the children in the woods? Do you remember that? Where like a father, like, or like a grandfather left a baby in the woods and a White
oh
Walker?
yeah. It's not a grandfather. This is gross. Do you remember who those people are?
No, I don't remember.
The guy in the woods is having sex with his children and his
That's right. Okay.
entire like lineage.
Lineage. Yeah.
Every time they have a boy, they leave it for the White Walkers.
Yeah,
And
because
then
he
the White
wants
Walkers turn it into
girls.
an army. Yeah.
Oh, I
So probably a
forgot.
large portion of those White Walkers.
Are just incest babies.
Yeah.
I'm about to say, but wait, do they grow? Do they get older? I would imagine, yeah.
So what I think those are maybe the generals because
Okay.
they're more human than they're not.
Okay.
So I don't think they kill them to turn them into things. I think he uses like a power.
Yeah, I'm curious whether or not the prequel show is probably going to touch on that of like more about the White Walker stuff.
I didn't think about that either.
Yeah, I'm curious about that. Yeah. Very curious.
My brother said that House of the Dragon is pretty slow.
Yeah, I've heard that for the most part, but I hear it is engaging though.
He did say he wonders. He said watch it, and I was like, yeah, I'll watch it. He said
it's only 2 seasons, right?
He wonders if it's gonna be it's gonna be more seasons.
Yeah.
He said he wonders if it's better if you binge it, so because I'm gonna binge it. So he's like, let me know how you feel about it, because he was like saying because he feels like it's slow. He said you'll feel differently because you get to watch it all in one go, and I was like, yeah, that's fair.
I kind of want to
like do with a lot of shows, by the way.
I kind of want to
see a show come out and then I'll wait.
Yeah, I want to resubscribe to Max to like actually watch that show. Cause like
I mean, you just take a month of it and just do it during the month.
Yeah,
and then cancel the subscription.
Because I also wanted to watch The Penguin as well, because I hear The Penguin's pretty good. Yeah, Batman.
DC is so boring to me.
But Batman.
If it's good, let me know because then I'll watch it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm watching Righteous Gemstones.
Oh fuck, that's also HBO, right?
Bro, yeah. Have you watched any of it?
No, I only keep seeing clips. I think that's also another reason why I wanted.
Have you watched any of the show at all?
No, none.
Come on, dude.
I only know like the character Uncle Baby Billy. That's it.
Uncle Baby Billy.
Yeah, because it's Walton Goggins, and I love Walton Goggins.
One of the new episodes, Walter Goggins. I don't. It's probably a prosthetic dick, but he's just whipping his dick around.
No, I think that's an old. That's a body double. Because he talked about this, I forget, on a podcast, or I think on Conan actually. He talked about it, just like this like body double of like this 70-year-old guy is like doing his thing, and then like he gets a phone call from a friend of his being like, "Hey, watch the show. Hey man, your body looks great." And he's like, "That's not me. That's a body double. That's an old guy."
He's talking to his nephews, I guess, and his niece, and they're all sitting there talking, and he's like getting dressed or whatever, and they're like, "Uncle Bob and Billy, you're just whipping your dick around. Why do it?" And he's like, "I can't remember the whole thing, like, but it's just like the sequence of it, and like, it's very like you can tell that what is the guy's name that like does the show mostly?
Danny McBride.
Yeah, Danny McBride. You can see like the writing from Danny, because Danny McBride's writing is so stupid.
Yeah, it's stupid.
His comedy, it makes me so happy because it's so good. And they're just sitting there talking about his dick for like a good 3 minutes, and I'm just
that's another show that I wanted to the reason why I wanted to resubscribe to Max is just like
so good.
I keep hearing it's really good. Yeah.
What's the fucking who's the guy that did the movie with Lady Gaga?
Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper's in the first episode of the new season.
Really?
And bro, my friend hates the first episode because it goes back in time and like tells you about the family basically.
Oh really?
Yeah, so like where does it start? And Bradley Cooper is the start of that family.
Oh.
And I was like, what? Like Bradley Cooper is so fucking good. Yeah. And I was like, how do you hate this episode? Because it's phenomenal. I fucking love that shit, man.
Damn it. I'm gonna have to resubscribe. Fuck.
Yes. You need to watch that shit from season 1, bro.
Yeah.
It's only 4 seasons, I think.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is that like people were anticipating a new season, like a good bit. And like now it's a lot of people are happy that a new season came out.
I think like where they're stopping is kind of like what I don't think that they think there's going to be enough to keep people entertained.
Mm-hmm.
But not Bradley Cooper. I already forgot this guy's name.
Danny McBride.
Danny McBride is one of my favorite comedians, man. Dude's hilarious.
Yeah.
Comedic actors.
So yeah, it's fucking yeah, it's Righteous Gemstones, House of Dragons, and White Lotus. I hear is pretty good.
I don't
That
know anything about White Lotus. I just keep hearing that people like it.
it's like a murder mystery from what I understand.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, okay. And then of course the next season of The Last of Us is happening, so there's that.
How far off is that from?
I think couple months actually. Couple months. It's about
Okay.
to premiere. And I did like I'm surprised because like nobody talks about the show on Max called The Outsider. It's pretty good.
I'm an outsider to this show with The Outsider.
Oh man. You should I would say check it out if you're looking for like murder mystery. I don't want to get too further into it because I feel like it ruins a little bit of what happens. But that show is very good because I was not expecting where it was going. I'm trying to think what else was on Max that Chernobyl.
Nah,
I liked Chernobyl.
we already know what happened there.
Yeah. But it was interesting to watch like basically the explanation as to how it happened and like the precautions, not even the precautions, like the things that they had to do in order to try to like stop the spreading or minimize it as much as they could. But it's also interesting to see like the bureaucracy behind it of just like why can we get this shit done? Well, because the higher up says we can, and it's like people's lives are at stake, and it's like, well, it's because we can't look dumb to other nations, and it's just like what the fuck is the point? Yeah, it was very. I
Chernobyl just like they were like, we can't run it this hot, and they were like, sure we can.
Yeah,
and then it blew up.
And then it blew up.
They were like, oh, I guess we cannot.
And then like
all the dead people going, yeah, we told you.
And then like the whole thing with the guy who was in charge basically like pointing fingers being like, well, no, because I told him, and then the guy being like, no, but you told me. And it's like this whole thing of just like back and forth of like finger pointing.
Yeah.
The like I said, the bureaucracy behind it of just like people not trying to take the responsibility for it and basically pushing it to another person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Laziness can kill you for sure.
So Game of Thrones?
It's good.
A+.
Thumbs up from Robert and Ebert.
Oh yeah, Hodor. Forgot about that.
Did you find out who Hodor was, or did you not watch that season?
I didn't watch that season. I only saw a clip because a clip's like for some reason like always pop up in my feed on YouTube.
Do you want to know why Hodor's name is Hodor?
Yeah, because he had to hold the door.
Oh, so you know, okay.
Yeah, and essentially his mind broke. That's why he says it.
It's so dumb. Hold the door.
Hold the door. Hold door. Hold door. Hold door. I don't know. I feel like that. Like, I feel like that might be a George R. R. Martin writing, though. Possibly.
Probably.
Maybe. I want to read the books, but at the same time, I don't want to be at a point where it's like I'm still, after I finish reading the books, I'm still waiting for the next book from George R. R. Martin.
He said he might not finish the last book.
Yeah, that's what I saw recently.
Which is like, really, motherfucker?
It happens. I mean, I can't be mad personally because that happened with the author of Vagabond, which is a manga that I read that I was super in, but he came out like years ago, like I forget what chapter he was on, and he's like, I don't think I could finish this. He was like, I'm literally in an artist block because of the fact that like I don't want to get people's expectations so high and then disappoint them. So he's like, I'm essentially putting. He says that he will return at a point, but the return will not be happening like anytime soon. I don't know what exactly. Funny enough, he did do like an art exhibit at some point where he basically drew a panel that was supposed to be for like the upcoming chapters, like something that was supposed to happen. Because basically you had this whole thing within the story of like these two badass characters kind of leading up to meeting one another. And he drew that at like an art exhibit, and that was basically it. So, yeah, like I said, I can't be mad at George R. R. Martin.
We're gonna be 80, and George R. R. Martin's gonna be like, I finished it.
I'm waiting for Elden Ring 2 when he puts something. I don't know what. Something. Mm-hmm.
I don't think I watched anything else.
Okay. Just Game of Thrones.
I mean, Game of Thrones took like long.
Yeah,
Took a
no,
while.
it's fucking 8
An hour an
seasons.
episode.
Yeah. It's 8 seasons. I don't blame I don't blame you.
That's what 70 hours on. No wait, 60 hours.
That's what is that? 3 years?
Wait. No, that's not 4. 10, 11, 12. 72 hours, I think, altogether.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly.
No, 74. 74 hours.
Okay. So
It's a lot of time, man.
yeah, it is. It is. It is. No, it is. I don't like I said, I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
So, you know, whatever.
Nothing else?
I mean, I played Schedule 1, you know that.
Schedule 1. What's that again?
It's the Drug Empire game.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Which I bought. I told you this because you bought Kingdom Come Deliverance, and I have Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 now. Did you buy the second one?
No, I'm still playing through the first one.
Okay. So I bought the second one, and I was like hype off of
Game of Thrones
So I was
because
like,
medieval
this is
fantasy.
gonna be- yeah, I was like, this is gonna be dope. And then my friend was like, you should play Schedule 1, and I was like,
It's
I'll buy
just
it next month.
it's just like
I
Game
just
of
bought this
Thrones.
game. And he was like, if you don't buy it right now, I'm gonna buy it for you. And I was like, okay. And then I see it in my like game library like a second later, and I was like, I'll just buy you a game next month, whatever. So like, I hop on with him because he wants to play now, and I was like, yeah, let's just play now. So I start playing it, and I was like, I don't want to play Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 now. I just want to play
this drug
I'm having
game.
so much fun.
Hey man,
And
just play what you want.
So this is coming off of I'm going to say this. We still obviously need to talk about the Switch 2, but like this is coming off of the Switch 2 stuff.
Mhm.
And the priciness of the games. So because of the price of like them saying $80 to $90 on games, I was playing through this indie game, and I'm like, why the fuck would I play anything other than indie games right now
Anything else?
for like $15 to $20 when I don't even like the Zelda games that are coming out half the time?
That's the joy. That's the gem of indie games. It's just like there's always something good out there.
It's just crazy to me that like and like this can sound like repetitive to people or like, oh, everyone says it. That's not true. It is true. The truth is, it is fucking true. When these companies are making games that come out bugged up the fucking ass,
yeah,
and I can barely get through 10% of it without, having to restart or wait for you to patch something. And then I can play something like Schedule 1 and
have a good time.
There's bugs in it, but guess what? I expect a $20 game to have bugs in it, bitch.
Yeah, compared to like a $70 game. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is that like it's tough. It's very tough. It's like, going back to Kingdom Come Deliverance, I'm playing through the first one and it's like it's still a little janky, but that's something to expect because this was a studio that like didn't really have any huge hits beforehand. Like they were relatively small, and it is a Euro jank kind of game. But overall, like I'm having a good time with it. Yeah, I'll get to that in my week. But you enjoying your drug game? Did you binge Breaking Bad and you were like, let me play drug game?
I watched Breaking Bad in its entirety 3 times.
I want to do another rewatch because I never rewatched it like after I saw it on cable.
I hate watching. I love the show. Hate having to listen to Skylar talk.
Is Skylar the villain?
Nope. I don't like her. She's just annoying, man. And I know like it's
kind of the point. Yeah, it's kind of the point though.
But like lay off my boy Walter, man. He's just trying to make some money.
That's the funny thing is that like I think that's the interesting aspect of Breaking Bad of like you're rooting for the bad guy the entire time. So the same
Yeah, but like, did he cheat on his wife ever?
No, but he is making drugs and then kind of kept it a secret from her, but like they're both in the
Yeah,
wrong.
but she cheats on him.
But
So drug is fine.
drug fine, cheating bad.
Yeah.
Drug fine,
No,
cheating.
like dead ass. Like your boy has cancer.
He had cancer. He was in remission when she cheated on him.
So, and
drugs bad.
I'm about to put her into remission of life, bro. So
No, like that is also the problem. Well, that I think that's what I like about like that whole thing of Breaking Bad. It was just like you can either agree with one person or you can disagree with another person. But at the same time, like they're both like kind of equally shitty because of the fact that Skyler kind of like pushed Walter into this whole thing of like continue to do it because think of your family. So they're both in the wrong. They're both not good people. The only innocent person I would have to say is Walt Jr. and the baby. Because they didn't ask to sign up for this fucking thing.
and the brother-in-law.
Oh yeah, and Hank. Hank technically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
He starts collecting rocks.
Yep. Geologist.
When Hank finds out about Walter being
being Heisenberg.
the bad guy, that shit made me so sad for him, bro, because you could see his face be like
damn. Because like you get that feeling of just like what is going through his head. Like, do you think it's like just anger and confusion and like all these the elements of being like, okay, he was right under my nose the entire time, but he's also my brother-in-law. But what do I do? Like, it's just like these things that you kind of like want to read what's on his face when he like figures it out. Damn, I want to rewatch Breaking Bad.
good show.
Yeah, it is.
But you should watch first the last 2 seasons of Game of Thrones.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Righteous Gemstones.
Oh no, well, you should watch all of that.
Yeah, I think I might do that. I think I might like check out the last 2 seasons just to see how it goes. Because like I said, I've only gotten like clips and like stuff of like what happens in the other seasons. But it'll be nice to revisiting the crushes I had in that show.
I mean, Gemstones is great, man.
Yeah, I really want to check out that show.
Yeah.
Anything else that you played or watched, binged?
I did play part of the new season, not new season, technically new season. Path of Exile 2. I started my new character, which is the Huntress.
Okay.
They released the Huntress. She's cool. I don't know how to play her yet. I also played some of the Witness.
Hey,
It's okay.
it's a puzzle game.
Just a puzzle game. Yeah, I like puzzles. Puzzles are cool. I constantly notice how stupid I am playing that game.
That's how I get when I play puzzle games.
So that was fun. And then I bought Super Blackjack Battle 2 Turbo Edition.
I think I've heard of that, actually.
Yeah, so it looks like Street Fighter. You go to different countries like in Street Fighter and fight people using blackjack. And you don't actually fight, it's blackjack. And they're like, round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then, whoever doesn't have money by the last round loses. So it's fun. I like it. I like blackjack. That's why I bought it.
But you won't play Balatro?
I like blackjack. Okay. I don't like poker.
Fair enough.
That's it. Oh no, I did play. What's the other game? I don't like this game, and you probably do like it. So whatever.
Oh man.
Atomfall.
Oh, okay. I haven't played it, so I don't know.
Yeah, I tried playing it again after I told you I'd try it again. I'm gonna keep playing and like.
I hear. So that's the thing is that like I hear it's like more of a detective-esque game. Surprisingly, like you're trying to solve things, like you're given clues and you gotta like figure things out. For the most part.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Which, like, yeah, you're trying to kind of figure out what's going on there.
Yeah.
I really hate BattleNet. I don't understand what's going on. So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm curious about that game, and I'm also curious about South of Midnight because that came out early access, I believe. So
I want to play that one.
yeah, I definitely want to check that one out.
Yeah.
That's it. So you got?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow, bro, I can't believe you hate video games and love Game of Thrones. You love dragons and titties. Can't believe it.
First of all, I'm not the one that said titties.
All right. What did Chonch do? What did Chonch? I don't know what to start with. Video games or movies. I guess
Movies.
that's how it movies. Okay, I'll do movies. All right. Where am I in my movie shit? So, I forgot to mention I watched a movie called Dark City last podcast, which is by the director of The Crow with Brandon Lee. It was good. It was all right. Not too bad. I watched Smile 2. I liked it for the most part. Can't say anything more about that. I went to the theaters and I saw Mickey 17, the new Bong Joon-ho movie. I like it. I liked it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I liked it. It was good. I really enjoyed it. It's essentially all of Bong Joon-ho's movies smashed into one, but also with cloning, because Robert Pattinson. Which, by the way, great performance. He gives a great. He's
such a good actor.
He's great. He's great in that movie. Would I say it's like Bong Joon-ho's best movie? Not really, because it incorporates, like I said, it feels like a mishmash of like other stuff that he's done. So it's good for the most part. It is enjoyable. What else did I watch? I watched season 3 of Invincible. That ended interestingly. I did like it. I watched Lord of the Rings: War of the Rohirrim, which is an animated movie, the anime Lord of the Rings movie. I liked it. I'm surprised that it got a lot of hate, but I think it's mostly from like Tolkien fans. I thought it was going to be like a Romeo and Juliet story. It's not, surprisingly. For the most part, it was good. It was I liked it, but like I said, a lot of people didn't like it as much. So
yeah.
What else did I watch? I watched an anime called Dan Da Dan. It's good.
I know the name.
Yeah, it's good. I was surprised of like what it was because I kept seeing like, oh, this fucking show is weird, and then I watched it. I'm like, yeah, this fucking show is weird, but I do like what it does of incorporating sci-fi and supernatural, and basically like fucking bashing it together. It's a very neat premise from what I got. But I was mentioning to Wesley that like the female main characters always put in like really bad predicaments, and they start the first episode with her in a really bad predicament, only to end the season with her in another bad predicament again. Yeah, it's a good show for the most part. Which, by the way, if you do watch the show, episode 7 fucked me up because it is incredibly tragic. It is a really, really tragic episode. So just keep that in mind if you're watching that show. What else did I watch? Speaking of spooky shit, I watched this movie from the 80s called Possession. Starring Sam Neill and I forget the lady's name. But it's I watched it out of curiosity because this kind of goes back to the YouTube channel that I do enjoy watching. Red Letter Media was doing a review on it. So I was like, you know what? Let me actually watch the movie, because they kind of do that thing at the beginning of their videos being like, if you haven't seen the movie and are interested, watch it because we're going to go into spoilers and stuff like that. So I was like, you know what? Let me watch the movie. I think I love this movie. um but it is kind of fucked up in where it goes, and there's a lot of symbolism and a lot of shit that I wasn't getting, and it's something that I think is a strong part of the movie where it wants you to linger on certain things that happen within it. The premise essentially is this man and woman that live in 1980s Berlin are kind of having a falling out with their marriage. Something's going on with the wife where the wife is kind of going crazy to the point where it's driving the husband nuts. They have a kid, you know, he's like probably like 6 or 5 years old. He's very young. So the whole thing is that the husband is trying to figure out, okay, what is going on with my wife? Eventually she admits to him, oh, I've been cheating on you. And then he kind of loses his shit and he goes on like a fucking like bender. And then as soon as he sobers up, he's like, I'm going to change my lifestyle. I'm going to change my shit. So he tries to be more of a father within his son's life. But at the same time, he realizes that like something's still going on with his wife, and it's getting weirder and weirder to the point where she's becoming manic. Like anytime he like interacts with her, she's like fucking losing her mind every time. So the story kind of gets crazier like once you see what's going on with like the wife's like side of her story.
Mm.
But I don't know if I really want to spoil it. Because it is a very weird movie, but it's like I said, the ending feels. I wouldn't say it does. It feels like you're gonna get like an interpretation, like right at the end. Like it's something that kind of leaves you hanging, and it feels like a cliffhanger almost. And it's just like, what does this all mean? And like I said, you can take it into different interpretations of just like, okay, well, their relationship was fucked up. Maybe it means something about marriage, and maybe it means something about having a kid, but also realizing the kid doesn't really fulfill a marriage as much as they thought that, you know, that a marriage would feel fulfilling. So there's a lot of things that maybe you can like interpret from that. Overall, there's a lot of good like shit that happens in the movie that's just like, oh, this is fucked. Like this is really fucked. There is an infamous scene from this movie that is attributed to it being a horror movie. But the context of it is interesting because of what's going on with the wife. So yeah, if you're interested in Possession from 1981, I would say watch it, but keep an open mind about it because it does get very, very weird, like very weird. So good. I watched it surprisingly on archive.com or .org, archive.org, something like that. Anyways, good. I think Sam Neill is also fantastic in that movie. I love seeing Sam Neill, especially a very
Nielsen,
especially a very young Sam Neill. And let's see, what else did I watch? I watched 2 movies by Kiyoshi Kurosawa. I really enjoyed his movie Cure. So on the Criterion channel, because I'm subscribed to the Criterion channel, there's some other Japanese horror movies, and there's 2 from him as well. So I watched the 2 from him, one called Pulse and the other one called Creepy. Pulse was a movie that he did in the early 2000s during the height of like ghosts in technology boom of Japan, like The Ring, The Grudge. Okay. Yeah. So it was kind of like in the height of that kind of. So it's a very interesting idea, but I feel like it's another movie that leaves you hanging as well. Because the premise is you're following 2 characters, a woman and a guy and a college guy. This woman wants to reach out to her friend of hers that hasn't shown up for work in like a couple of days. She goes over to his apartment. He, for some reason, just seems like he's like out of it, but he seems normal for the most part. So as they're talking in the apartment, you know, she is like, you know, I can't wait to see you again at work and this and that. And then eventually their conversation just ends. He doesn't respond to her. So then she goes over to see where he is, and essentially he's dead. And you see his body. His body looks like he's been there for days. And she sees that as, she realizes that that's odd because we were just talking, yet your body looks like it's been here for days. I don't get it. So it's this whole thing of like something weird is going on. Obviously, that's the kind of the hook to get you into the movie.
Yeah.
So then you follow the college student guy, where, like I said, this is the height of like the internet and like technology and stuff like this. So this guy is getting to know how computers work, or like a home computer specifically. So he tries to get, you know, his email and like using dial up and shit like that, and like trying to get an understanding of how computers work. So he's on his computer, and then all of a sudden a website pops up and like shows him like kind of like disturbing videos, almost to the point where like they feel like snuff films. And he's like, what the fuck is going on? And so he doesn't want to touch his computer. He thinks that maybe he got a virus. So he goes to another college student who's in like computer sciences, and he talks to her, and he's like, hey, do you think you can help me out with this? Because something weird is going on with my computer and shit like that. So they kind of go on their own little adventure, finding out that like, okay, this computer, well, not specifically this computer, but like something's going weird where people around Japan are getting like pop-ups from this website of these people on video that looks like they're about to kill themselves. So the movie kind of develops from there, of establishing that like ghosts are basically the spirit world is overwhelmed with the amount of ghosts. So their world is merging with ours, and the only way they're able to communicate is through technology. It's a very weird premise. But the more I started watching this movie, I started to think, was Hideo Kojima inspired by this movie for Death Stranding? Because there's a lot of imagery of like, you know, ghosts and like people reaching out with their hands, and like silhouettes being burnt into like things, like very weird imagery. But the ending of the movie feels kind of unsatisfying, almost to the point where like I had the same feeling about the Japanese Grudge movie, where, I guess, spoilers, essentially there is no stopping the ghosts from coming in, and people start disappearing almost like a rapture. And that's how I felt with the Grudge, was that like everybody disappears, and because this problem spread so far and so much, and it just like was like, this ending's like meh. But the atmosphere, I think that's what I feel like Kiyoshi Kurosawa does really well, is atmosphere. And you get that sense of dread when watching this movie. It's just like something's wrong, and these fucking snuff looking films on the website are really weird and fucky, and like it's really creepy. So, yeah. And then I watched his other movie, Creepy, which came out 2016. It has a good premise. He does atmosphere well, but the ending is, I wouldn't say it feels rushed. It just feels like, nah, like, okay. Like, at least it is satisfying, but it's like, eh. And it feels like the twist, I don't know, like, it doesn't feel like there really is a twist, because the premise with this movie, Creepy, is that a couple moves into a new neighborhood. The husband is a cop, and the woman is a stay-at-home wife. And essentially the cop husband, in the beginning of the movie, it kind of like preludes to him trying to calm down a serial killer who they brought in for questioning, but didn't realize that he was a serial killer. And then the guy gets out of the interview room and is about to stab a lady. So the cop guy tries to calm him down. He gets closer to him, and the serial killer is like, "You're an idiot," and like stabs him and kills the lady. So that kind of stained this cop's career a little bit. But He moves to a new neighborhood. I think it's supposed to be like a year later. He moves to a new neighborhood. He's not a cop anymore. He's now a like criminal justice professor. And he basically, in this new neighborhood, he tries to like get friendly with the other neighbors and like, say hi, hello, how are you? We're the new family that lived down the street. And one neighbor in particular gives off a very creepy vibe. And that's what the movie is. It's just like, this neighbor is really weird. There's something about him that's off and don't know what. So a new element gets added to the movie of this girl whose family was involved with a kidnapping has appeared, and this kidnapping stuff has not gone away. So there's a chance that the perpetrator is still out there. So there's a whole thing that kind of like you can kind of put two and two together of like, there's no real twist. Like, you already get the gist that like the neighbor could be the perpetrator, and it's just like, meh. But the one highlight is the actor that plays the creepy neighbor. He's very good in it because he gives off that vibe that like there's something unsettling with him, and you can't tell whether or not that either he is weird for weird's sake or he's weird because of like social interactions. Like he doesn't really interact with people that often, or he's just a fucking sociopath. Like that's the whole gist from it. Yeah, like I said, the ending is somewhat satisfying, but at the same time, it's just like I felt like it needed more. But I think overall, I would have to say that if you're interested in Kiyoshi Kurosawa's like filmography, watch Cure, because I think that's the best one that he's done, because that does atmosphere very well. But the premise of it is very interesting. I really liked how Cure ended because it's very bleak. It's a very bleak ending. What else I watched? I watched season 3 of Reacher, where big dudes do big things, and he fights a big guy.
Jack Reacher. What's he reaching for?
He's reaching for justice. Let's see, what else did I watch? On Hulu, a movie that I was anticipating last year called Oddity is on there. I'm waiting for him to put the headphones back on.
Hello.
Yes. I was waiting for you to... Yeah, it's okay. I was waiting for you to put the headphones back on because I want to talk about this movie because this movie's very good. It's called Oddity. It's on Hulu. This was a movie I was anticipating a little bit because it had a very interesting premise that this lady and her husband move into a new home. The lady is doing some construction of the house by herself. The house is very old, it's very creepy, but they kind of like the rustic look of it. So she's home alone, and then out of nowhere, a man knocks at her door. She basically, the front door has like a little slide like door to see like who it is. So she opens the slide door. It's a guy with a fake eye, basically telling her that like somebody's in there with you. You need to get out now. And then she's like, no, I'm not going to do that. And then he's like, there's somebody in there. You need to go or call the police, something. And she's like, I don't know if I can believe you. Because the guy reveals that, oh, I'm also a patient of your husband, because her husband, turns out, is a doctor that works in a mental asylum.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, okay. But the thing is that the mental asylum people in there are violent criminals. So it's like, it's almost like Arkham, essentially. That's what it feels like. It feels like Batman's going to pop up at any point.
Yeah.
But the guy's like, let me in the house. Maybe, if I'm in there with you, you have a better chance. And she's like, I don't know about that. And then it fades to black. It opens up with the husband character visiting her sister, his wife's sister, and it's revealed that the woman died. And they say that the guy that got out of the mental hospital killed her. So it's revealed that her sister, she's a twin, has psychic abilities, that she's able to read the past of specific things, of people that died. So the doctor brings the guy's fake eye because the guy was found dead. So she gives him he gives her the fake eye.
Was it the husband?
She reads it and she's like, something's not right. The guy that was accused of her murder isn't the guy. So essentially the husband is in a new relationship with a fling that he was having. And the twin sister comes over and she's like, I'm basically going to do a spirit reading of the house to see whether or not real shit went down. So a giant trunk, a giant like crate has this thing in here. It has like this weird wooden puppet in it. And the wooden puppet is essentially a conduit that allows her to connect with her sister, who is a ghost now. So the movie kind of goes from there, and it's good. The ending is also pretty satisfying, but it's really engaging because of the atmosphere as well. It does a really good thing for the viewer to see that, like, okay, what the fuck is this lady seeing? And like, what makes this shit creepy? And it does a very, very good job at it. I want to say more, but like, if you have Hulu, I would recommend watching the movie. It's like an hour and change. I forget.
What's the name again?
Oddity.
Okay.
Let's see what else I watched. I watched Shawshank Redemption. It's a goat movie.
Good movie.
It's a good movie. What else can I say about that? I watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which I feel like this movie is like the most interesting thing Quentin Tarantino has come out with besides Jackie Brown. Because it's a period piece. It's also a bit of a character study, while at the same time being a pulp fantasy of Hollywood, and specifically about the Manson murders. Did you watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? No. So you don't know the premise at all?
No.
You're following I would say kind of a washed up or near washed up actor, which Leonardo DiCaprio plays, and his stunt double. They have their own little journey of like, well, specifically Leonardo DiCaprio has his own journey of like finding his self-worth, because he feels like he's washed up, like there's no place for him. While at the same time, you have a parallel storyline going on with Sharon Tate, who was a real person, who was an actress, who kind of feels like she's becoming a rising star, while Leonardo DiCaprio is like, he's a star starting to like dim a little bit. For historical context, when Charles Manson was kind of like rising up to the whole cult status thing, one of his victims was Sharon Tate, and this was a pregnant Sharon Tate. I believe she was home with, I think, like 2 or 3 friends of hers, and they were murdered as well. So Once Upon a Time in Hollywood does this thing where it's like, if you know what happened in this time period to this person, it like kind of builds up that tension of like what's going to happen to this woman. But at the same time being enjoyable because you're following Leonardo DiCaprio's like whole thing of like feeling that he's like nothing in this world. While at the same time you have Brad Pitt being his stunt double, being like, I'm just going with the flow of things. You know, wherever the world takes me, it takes me.
Mhm.
And there was a interview that I saw that like I liked that idea of Cliff and oh god, I forgot the other name. Rick and Cliff, Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt. Uh Quentin Tarantino went on an interview basically being like, you know, he saw a stunt double and the actor like talk one another, being like friends and stuff like that. Like they've been in movies for years, and he's like, I kind of want to adopt that idea of like these two people that just like shoot the shit with one another. They're like they know each other kind of on a more intimate level, but obviously, you know, they're kind of like two halves of one single thing when it comes to like movie production. So I do like the thing of the movie of like having Brad Pitt being like this whole confident guy. He's the stunt double, you know, he kind of like gets out of the way for the main actor, you know, Leonardo DiCaprio coming in. But Leonardo DiCaprio being like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, you know, I'm gonna lose everything because I'm not getting enough work. And Brad Pitt being like, "Don't worry, man. You know, you're gonna get back on your feet. Like, by the way, do you have another job for me?" Like that kind of spiel. Um, but overall, it is one of those movies that I have to say, like, you kind of have to watch it and have a bit of an understanding what happened to Sharon Tate. Uh, but it's just a very odd movie. Until you get to the end where it actually becomes a Quentin Tarantino movie of how much violence there is. And it's very, very like goofy. It's very goofy. But yeah, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Let's see what else did I watch. I watched two Guillermo del Toro movies. I watched his first movie called Kronos. I was not expecting it to go the way it does. But it does establish the tone that Guillermo del Toro puts on for a lot of his movies very early. Because when you think of a Guillermo del Toro movie, you know, they feel dark, like dark fantasy a little bit, while at the same time having a kind of like a feeling of like tragedy, but also can kind of keep it a bit like upbeat a little bit, or essentially whenever he has a creature feature or a monster in the movie, he has a way to humanize them. So the movie Kronos follows an old man in Mexico. He comes upon a device that was made by an alchemist so many years ago, and essentially, like the device like impales him with something. He doesn't know what, but it's starting to make him feel a lot younger, but feel, not make him look younger. It's revealed that this thing is kind of like an elixir of eternal youth or eternal life, essentially. Um, but overall, the little device that's supposed to give him eternal life is an analogy for drugs, like doing hardcore drugs, doing heroin, essentially. And it's interesting because it's like, you know, whenever he has to have this thing impaled on him, it doesn't look like he's in pain. It looks like he's in euphoria. Like it looks like he's happy to take this thing, even though he's bleeding. So there's even a scene where the first time he gets like impaled by this thing, it leaves a really bad like gash on his hand. But the entire time when he's home and he already has this thing bandaged up, he's like trying to scratch at this thing. He's trying to like ease the itch. He's even like gnawing at it like an animal would. And it gets to the point where like maybe I should take the thing again and see if it hurts me. Or maybe it might like, you know, take away this itch. So then he does it again, and like I said, it looks like he's doing drugs. Like he takes down the stairs and he's just sliding down because he's just like, oh man, like this is what I needed. Um, Overall, it's a very interesting movie. Like I said, I was not expecting it to go the way that it does, but yeah, it does establish the whole thing with Guillermo del Toro of him being you know, that guy that does like fantasy stuff but in a darker tone. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
sounds good.
It's good. So then I was like, you know what? Let me go with more dark fantasy Guillermo del Toro, and I watched Pan's Labyrinth. I like it, but I watched it with a director's commentary with Guillermo del Toro talking about the production of it, and he is somebody who is very, very like specific when it comes to certain things, and I do like it when he explains, okay, this is the reason why we went with this scene, this is the reason why we went with these color tones. You know, I wanted to add the elements of the fantasy with the reality and how brutal this shit can be, because I forget how brutal that fucking movie is. And you know, he's talking about like all these like intricate things, and it's like, damn, like I never really thought about that while watching the movie. And it's very interesting to hear his thought process, being like, yeah, I worked on like this storyline when like back in the 90s, so you know, it took me forever, because he's like, writing movies is like a fucking pain in the ass, and like it's hard to like get something down and even put it on to screen. Like it's difficult. It's a whole process, obviously. But the part that I enjoyed the most was him basically talking about how he will never ever work with horses ever again. And he basically goes on like a 20-minute, no, like a 10 to 15-minute rant about how fucking horses are the worst animals you can work with on screen. He's like, I didn't like horses before. I tried to give him another chance for this movie, and he's like, they proved me wrong, because those horses were fucking psychopaths. He's like, they were like trying to hurt the actors and like this and that. And he's like, I would not work with these motherfuckers ever again. And he just continues to go on about like these fucking horses were awful. So that was really fun. But like I said, listening to the director's commentary and him going through the intricacies of how he went with the idea of the movie and like what he was thinking and like the imagery that he was going for, it's like, that's really interesting. He's like, that's really interesting. And I didn't know that apparently the movie Pan's Labyrinth is technically a pseudo sequel to another movie that he did called The Devil's Backbone, which that is another movie based in like the Civil War in Spain. So it's interesting to kind of like understand that he kind of came up with his own little universe, the Del Toro verse, a little bit. Del Toro verse. But yeah, I like Pan's Labyrinth. I do like the imagery. Like I said, there was a lot of things that he pointed out in the movie being like, oh, I bet you didn't even realize that. And I'm like, yeah, I never realized that. That apparently the fawn character, the giant goat man, he gets younger as the movie progresses. Like when the little girl meets him for the first time, he's old, decrepit, you know, he looks like, you know, a rock essentially. And then once you get to the end of the movie, he's young. And it's just like, that's weird. I never realized that. And I forget, like he explains as to like why the de-aging happens. But the other credit I want to give to is the guy who acts in like the suits for the fawn and for the pale man. The pale man being the guy with the eyes in his hands. Doug Jones, who is also Abe Sapien in Hellboy. He's been in, yeah, the eyes. He's great. Just the movement that he does is very good. Doug Jones is like underrated, I feel like. Also, by the way, I forgot, Ron Perlman is in Guillermo del Toro's first movie, Cronos. He's in there for some reason. He's technically a bad guy, but I'm like, it's cool to see that like Ron Perlman becomes like a mainstay for like other Guillermo del Toro movies, because he's Hellboy, he's in Nightmare Alley, he's in like a bunch of other like Guillermo del Toro movies, and it's like, it's cool to see that like he came back and was doing other movies with him. So my main thing that I want to talk about, what do you know about family?
I hate it.
I finished all of it. I finished all of the Fast and Furious movies. I can't believe they fucking finished Fast X that way. Go watch them. Also, Jason Momoa exhibits chaotic bisexual energy that Dom must defeat with his heterosexual masculine energy.
I'm sorry, who?
Jason Momoa.
Okay.
Yeah. He's the bad guy. It's so stupid as to like why he's the bad guy. But because essentially Dom robbed his dad and killed his dad in Fast and Furious 5. So it's just like, by the way, this other character was there the whole time. But it's not as egregious as John Cena in Fast 9. Because essentially it's like, hey, did you know Dom actually had a younger brother? And it's like,
John Cena?
Yeah, and it's like, what? And the movie does the goofiest shit because it's like Fast 9 basically opens up in like 1980, and it's like, here's young Dominic Toretto. But I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, wait, how old is Dom in Fast 1? Isn't he like in his 20s? And then like they get this kid, and I'm like, okay, is he supposed to be like 18 here? But then, you know, the do you remember the whole origin story with Dom? As to like, okay, so the reason why he had
like 2 of these movies.
So in the first movie, they say that like the reason why he went to jail was because he assaulted the guy to near death. Actually, he went to prison for a good bit. So the guy, even in the first movie, Dom says to Brian that like, oh yeah, my dad almost died. No, my dad died. So I wanted to get back at the guy that killed my dad. So I almost killed that guy. But then in Fast 9, it's revealed that Dom had a brother that if you just take the camera and pan it to the left, he was there the whole time. And I'm like, what? Like, wait, but why do they never talk about his brother? And then in flashbacks, they talk about how like, oh, Dom actually found out that his brother was the one responsible for his dad's death because he fucked around with the engine. But then his brother tells him that like, you know, dad was gonna lose the race. He didn't want to tell you, so he told me, and he wanted me to futz with the engine, but I didn't know the engine was gonna like fucking explode on him. And then Dom is like, but you let the family down. And then John Cena pops out and he's like, doo 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 doo. And then he's like, we're fighting, bro, because I'm your bro. Essentially, John Cena is the alpha and the omega to Vin Diesel, to Dom. And it's so stupid at the fact of like, who's a Toretto? How can you tell the Torettos apart? Oh, they got the cross necklace. That's how you know a Toretto's a Toretto. Because their dad had a cross necklace, and then John Cena had a cross. Oh, I thought you were gonna like take out a cross necklace for a second. So John Cena had a cross necklace, and then of course Vin Diesel has his cross necklace, and it's like the Torettos. Oh my god, family. I think the other thing that is incredibly goofy and makes no fucking sense is how the fuck Han is alive. How Han survived is literally an ass pull. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, they're like, Han was in the car in Tokyo Drift when it exploded, but technically he wasn't there. He got out super quick. You didn't even see it, bro. And then he became like a secret agent working for this government thing, this Black Ops government. And it's like, what? What? And then Gal Gadot is also his girlfriend, and she died in like Fast 7. Yeah, she died in like Fast 6. She died in Fast 6.
What, did she die?
Spoilers, in Fast 10, she's actually alive. Which also makes no sense because she should have been fucking dead. But then the more I started to realize of how these movies keep going is that legitimately all these rest of these people who have been in like major car accidents, especially especially Dom, should either have concussions or they're just dead, or they're just vegetables and paralyzed. Like They get in
Tell us-
such severe car crashes. Yeah.
Tell us more about Ludacris going into space.
That did not disappoint. But it's not just Ludacris, it's also Tyrese. Tyrese and Ludacris go to space. Tej and Roman go to space. And then somehow they come back down to the Earth. I don't know. I don't remember how. No, they go to space in a fucking makeshift rocket ship in a car, like that is just a car with a rocket like strapped onto it. That's built by the guys from Tokyo Drift because they became rocket scientists at some point. Also The Rock.
The Rock.
Which I saw Hobbs and Shaw. Which, I'm not going to lie, that was actually pretty fun because Idris Elba essentially being a cyborg was pretty cool.
I feel like you talked about Hobbs and Shaw before.
I talked about it a little bit because I was like halfway in the movie when we talked about it.
Gotcha.
I finally finished it and I'm like, yeah, that was a fun time. And then the fucking ending credit sequence is Han's alive and he goes to visit fucking not Hobbs, Shaw, because Shaw is technically the one that killed him. But then you get Fast 9 and it's like, no, he didn't kill him. I don't know. And then you have
Hobbs and Shaw play a part in this show.
What?
That's connected to Fast and Furious.
Yes. So Hobbs is Dwayne The Rock Johnson's character from Fast 5. Or Fast 4. No, Fast 5. And then Shaw is a character from Fast and Furious 7. Because in Fast and Furious 6, it's his brother, Owen Shaw. But Dom takes him out, and then in Fast 7, it becomes Deckard Shaw, in which he's like, I gotta take my revenge for my brother, so I'm gonna start killing the people that you love, Dom, even though my brother's not dead, he's just hospitalized. But I'm gonna kill Han. And then that's the whole thing with Han, is that like how Han died was actually a setup by Deckard Shaw. And then I mentioned this to Wesley, I mentioned this like all around, is that like the timeline makes no fucking sense. The timeline makes no sense because of the fact that like Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift takes place in like 2006, while Fast 6 when Han dies is like 2016, 2014, even though these movies were coming out like 2018, 2019, because like they kind of have to like, you know, futz around with like the timeline. I don't know, but the thing that keeps fucking me up is that Dom named his son Brian, and in the movie, in the 10th movie, they keep calling him Little B. So it gets really bad when you start to think that, wait, Brian is still technically alive in this series. He's not dead. But Dom's sister, Mia, the one who is married to Brian, had the baby with Brian, is like, yeah, Brian's just at home. Don't worry about him. Mia's here. Don't worry about Paul Walker. And then even then, everybody's like, we should really call Brian. And then Dom's like, no, he's out of that life. And it's like, no, he's dead, but like, you're not really gonna recast him. Or
He's out of that life.
He's
killed him off.
You could have. You literally could have. You literally could have. Because even then, when I mentioned this to like in Fast 7, like there's that uncanny valley of like the digital Paul Walker when they split, like when they're driving down the road and they eventually like split off. Like you see digital Paul Walker and you're like, he looks a little off. But what are you gonna do? Because it's supposed to be like a nice in memoriam kind of thing. But then you get the rest of the series going, and then everybody's just like, it's good to be here with familia, with everyone here. And then fucking Dom is like, so is Brian back at home, Mia? And Mia's like, yeah, he's home with the baby. And it's like, but why is he not here at the barbecue? I like what? Like,
No barbecue.
anyways, here's little B, little bitch. every time, every
What
time
happens when Paul Walker's son gets into the life, and then
they're gonna have to do that eventually.
technically not dead Paul Walker has to come save him.
I don't know how the fuck they're gonna do what they're good. I don't even know how the fuck the 11th movie is supposed to like go, because how the 10th movie ends, it's a literal cliffhanger.
Oh, they're actually hanging on a cliff.
Well, I would say it's more of a bomb detonation than hanging on an actual cliff. And then the reveal is that, oh, Gal Gadot has been alive the whole time. Yay! Han doesn't have to be sad Korean man. Now he can be happy Korean man with his Israeli girlfriend. Yay! But the goofy shit as well is that in the 8th movie they introduced that Charlize Theron is the villain, and
Okay.
I'm surprised nobody killed her, especially Dom, because Charlize Theron kills Dom's baby mama. And then throughout the other movies, she comes back and she's like, do you remember what I did, Dom? And Dom's like, oh, I'm gonna kill you so hard, but I can't because you have my family hostage. And it's just family. What's also kind of funny is like Charlize Theron's haircuts throughout like the 3 movies, because then in when she's introduced, she has braids, and then after that she gets like this really bad like bowl haircut, and then in the last movie her hair actually looks fine, like it just looks like regular decent Charlize Theron hair, but it's just like so goofy because they also like do this thing where she's like, she's also a hacker lady, but she's also a super badass that can fight, because that's how the fucking 10th movie starts, is that Jason Momoa is out for Dom because he got his dad killed, and he's gonna destroy everything and make Dom look like terrorists, and it's crazy. It's I when that ending happened for the 10th movie, I literally started yelling like, what do you mean it ends like this? Yeah, the Fast and Furious is fucking bonkers, bro. There was even points where I started laughing hysterically because of like, these people are dead, like they get hit with a fucking truck multiple times. They're supposed to be dead,
and then they just bring them back.
That's it. I don't think
a healer in the group then.
Huh?
They have a healer in the group then.
No, they're just like super powered. They just have supernatural abilities.
So I'm saying they got a healer. Someone's healing them.
Yeah, I guess. But it just like, there's no consequences in this movie. The only there are 2 actual deaths in this whole series, and it's from the guy that dies in the first movie with the beanie hat, and then another guy dies in the 5th movie who lives in Brazil, who was from the first movie, but he dies, and he dies for good. I could be wrong. Maybe in the 11th movie they're like, you know what, let's bring these characters back. The guys actually didn't die. Like that's what it feels like. When I kept like watching the movies, I'm like, there's no consequences. Like nobody dies. Except for those other 2, side characters, but like the main cast can't die. Obviously Paul Walker, but like that's real life. Not
Paul Walker.
Not the movie, because the movie's just like, no, he's alive. But if also
Paul Walker didn't have super strength in IRL, bro.
In IRL. But that's the thing that feels weird, is that like every time they bring up Brian, it's like, remember the good times we had with Brian? But in the movie context, it's like, he's like right down the street. Go talk to him.
Yeah.
It's like, this is what feels insane. It drives me nuts. It drives me fucking nuts. But the nice part about 10 is John Cena is actually really fun in the 10th movie. In the 9th movie, he's trying too hard to be a bad guy, but you know, they can't really make the thing of like Dom's brother is evil the whole time, so they try to like, you know, switch it at the fact that like, yeah, he was a good guy the whole time a little bit. Misunderstood, but he was a good guy. And then in the 10th movie, it's like, oh, he's back in Dom's life again. And it's like, oh, he's hanging out with his nephew. And it's like, okay, it's very cute. It's very sincere almost. Because I like the little interactions that like the little kid and John Cena had, because you know, they felt very endearing. Because the kid's like, what the heck is this? And it's like a cassette tape. And John Cena's like, oh man, you're gonna love this. And he puts in the thing, and it's Good Vibrations by Marky Mark. And he's like, can you believe it? This guy used to be an underwear model. And the kid's like, what? And then I kept thinking it was like, this was like a couple years after he beat up that Vietnamese guy, but that's besides the point.
The kid, Little B's like, I remember the good times with my dad. And they're like, what do you mean? He's down the street.
I remember the good times with my Uncle Brian. He's alive.
I thought Little B was his dad. Little B was
no, Little B is Dom's son.
Oh.
Yes.
My bad, I misunderstood.
Yeah, it's okay. So that's what I'm saying. That's what it feels weird. Even like the announcement, because like in the 7th movie, it's revealed that like Dom had a son, so that's why he's becoming anti-family, because he has to save his son. So his baby mama is like, well, I haven't given him a name. Like, I feel like his father should give him one. And Dom's like, I don't know what I can name him. And no, actually, it's the 8th movie. Sorry, it's the 8th movie. So then the baby mama dies. So then Dom saves his son. And then at the end of the movie, everybody's like, oh, what's the baby's name? And then he looks at the camera and he's like, Brian. And then everybody's like, oh my God, Brian. And everybody's smiling, being like, yeah, Brian. And then I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, wait, Mia is right there. She could literally just do like a FaceTime video with Brian right now. Like, why is everyone acting like Brian's dead in the context of the movie? Like, that's the shit that drives me insane, is that like every time they bring up Brian, it's like, remember Paul Walker? And it's like, yeah, but in the movie, he is alive. So why this feeling of sentimentality? It's so insane. It's so fucking insane. Yeah. Yeah, I at this point, I feel like it's a little too late. They could have done that literally at the end of the 7th movie. That like when Brian split off, you know, when he was driving with Dom, he died along the way, or Brian went back to his home planet, some shit like that.
His home planet.
His home planet.
Because he was an alien the whole.
The whole time he was like, Dom, we're family.
Mechanics with him from another planet.
Yeah, he's like, we're gonna go steal a spaceship, Dom. And Dom's like, we're doing this for alien familia.
Shut the fuck up.
It's so fucking insane. And then they reveal that Rita Moreno is also his fucking grandmother. And then
I know it is.
Yeah, Rita Moreno. She's a very famous actress, Latin American actress. Well, American actress, I should say. So the other goofy shit that happens is that in the 7th or 8th, I think it's the 8th movie or 9th, I don't remember. There's a weird thing that happens where Mia goes up to one of the characters that speaks Spanish. I forget his name in the world of Fast and Furious, but that guy is a rapper. He's Don Omar. And he is Puerto Rican, so he speaks Spanish. So Mia goes up to him, walks to him, and is like, let me talk to you in Portuguese Brazilian. You'll understand me. And then Don Omar replies to her back in Spanish like they're in fucking Tekken. And I'm like, what? What? Like, I understand there are similarities with like Latin languages, but Like Brazilian is a very different language,
Yep.
especially Portuguese Brazilian.
Yep.
And then even like Spanish spoken by Puerto Ricans and different other people who speak Spanish, they're different dialects. So it's like he doesn't know what the fuck you're saying, but you're speaking to him in Portuguese? Like it's so like when I saw that, I was like, whoa. Wait, what?
So the only reason I know the difference between Portuguese and other Spanish is because my one brother lived in Brazil
Mhm.
for a decent amount of time, like a few years. And then my other brother is dating a guy that's Spanish and he learned Spanish for him. Well, not for him, but he's just learned Spanish in general.
Mhm.
And my brother who knows Portuguese heard them talking in Spanish a few times and he was like, "Oh no, it's pronounced this way." And they both looked at him and went, "No, it's not.
That's not.
You're speaking a different language." So like listening to you talk about it, I was like, you're not wrong.
My
Like,
sister-in-law is Brazilian.
yeah.
Like my wife, my sister talks to her wife in Portuguese sometimes. Like, but at the same time, you know, there are moments where like my family talks in Spanish in front of my sister-in-law, and my sister-in-law is like, I can kind of parse the words a little bit. Like, okay, that makes sense, like that and that. And she's also doing her best to like learn Spanish as well. But it's like when that shit happened in the movie, I'm like, no, these people wouldn't understand what the fuck they're saying to one another. Because it's like,
unless they both understand each other's language,
yeah,
speaking in two different languages.
I guess, you know,
but like that would be. I understand that's very weird.
It's very weird because
most
it's like
people wouldn't be doing that.
Because the other thing is that like there are two explanations. Okay, there's two things that you can involve within the story. Is that Dom's family is Cuban. I believe he's part Cuban. So like that adds to the whole Spanish aspect. But then you have the second thing where within the fifth movie, they went to Brazil. So they were living in Brazil for a good while. So it makes sense that Mia would pick up on Brazilian words. But it doesn't make sense when she's talking to somebody who speaks just Spanish the entire time. To the point where like even other characters are like, we don't know what you're saying, bro. Say it in English. And then Don Omar has to be like, yes, the car. And it's like, okay. But even then, Dom understands Spanish. But he doesn't speak Brazilian to Don Omar. Like, it's just like, there's so many like things that I was just like, I was laughing because like some scenarios were so fucking insane. But even then, the dialogue is stupid. But this is where I can say I had a good time. If I was watching it with other people, I would fucking love watching this with other people. Because it is so dumb. It is so dumb. Like I said, the first three movies are incredibly grounded. The fourth movie becomes very more action oriented, and it loses a little bit of like the oh man, cars are badass, this is a car movie for car guys. Then you get to the fifth movie and then it comes full blown on action because you got The Rock, you got like the fucking the safe action sequence when they're driving down the road with the safe behind them, and then from then on it becomes these fucking like almost Marvel movies. They're essentially Marvel movies. When like I was thinking this the entire time when I finished the series, is that like that quote from Martin Scorsese about how Marvel movies just feel like theme park rides is wrong. The Fast and Furious movies are fucking theme park ride movies. Because they're meant to show you explosions, cars going, destruction. The amount of collateral damage is nuts, to the degree that I'm surprised nobody has been killed, like actual bystanders. Like that shit doesn't make sense. They use a fucking giant electromagnet to magnetize like shit from stores as they're driving down to the street. Doesn't hit a person. Nothing. Everybody's fine. Everybody is able to get out of the way in time. And it's just like,
it's like old Marvel movies.
I guess, but it's
So
yeah,
it's basically a superhero movie.
yeah. That's what they feel like. They feel like superhero movies, and it's like, and like I was mentioning before, it's just like everybody feels indestructible to the, oh my god, to the degree I forgot in the 10th movie, Roman Tyrese Gibson gets meta for like a good like couple scenes where he's like, do you guys think it's weird that we're kind of invulnerable to things? And then Ludacris is just like, nah, you're just being fucking crazy. But then
I think that was a trailer too.
yeah,
I think they had that in the trailer.
so it's like Tyrese is like, no. Like, we're lucky sometimes, but our luck feels almost supernatural. And
It's like,
he
you ever
can,
think it's weird that we blah 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 blah, and then
everybody's like, nah, you.
Ludacris is like, nah, as they both put space helmets on to go.
Yeah. Oh my god, that's perfect. That's actually legitimately perfect. Because it's just like it's wild because the fact that Roman, the comedic character, gets fucking meta for a bit to be like,
No.
we might be fucking superheroes.
Yeah.
It's just batshit.
Shows up, a true superhero.
Bro, how she is when you think that she's dead, I don't even understand. Like they're literally gonna have to pull something out of their ass in the last movie of being like, this is how she survived. And it's like,
oh yeah, you ready for X2?
I'm ready for X2, The Reckoning. I'm very excited.
Whatever 11 is.
I'm not. I'm not gonna lie. I'm probably gonna go see it in theaters.
Oh my god.
I'm probably
see it in 4D so you can.
I'm gonna see it in 5D
so the gasoline can hit your face.
Oh my god! I can't wait till Dom actually comes out and gives everybody in the audience a cross chain.
You would be so happy. There's no way you would. You'd
I'm not.
Like, whatever. Riddick gave me a chain.
Riddick.
I legitimately forgot his name for a second.
When Rick gave me a chain.
Riddick gave me a chain.
Dude,
when's he gonna finish the Riddick series, bro?
I don't know. I think he's trying to do another Riddick movie because I think the property belongs to him.
He should restart that show. He should redo it, the whole thing.
He wants to like go back to a lot of his other stuff that he's done, like Riddick and Triple X.
I still like Riddick. I think Riddick is good.
I like the second one. Even though the second one is fucking.
So let me put it this way:
Gonzo.
Maybe Riddick. The movies aren't that great, but the character itself, I like Riddick the character.
Yeah, that I agree with, because it's like Riddick is kind of a neutral, almost like. Yeah, he's kind of like grayish.
Anti-hero-ish.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect word. He's anti-hero.
You had brought it up a long time ago where you were like, oh, they're not that good. And I was like, no, they're great. And then you were like, go rewatch them. I watched it. And then I was like, okay. And then I rewatched it and I was like, the first one's hard to get through. I think because I think it's just old.
It's that, and I think it's also the color temperature changing.
Yeah, that's true.
It's very hard to get into it, but it's like it serves a purpose within the story itself because the setting is that like the planet has like fucking like 8 different suns revolving around it. Or
I think
the planet revolve.
Today he could make it better.
It's just like, where do you kind of go from Riddick? Because like that was the weird thing of the second movie, is that like it built up something of like Riddick is like the chosen one, and then the third movie is like, get rid of the chosen one shit, just go back to like Pitch Black.
No, he should just rework it for sure. That's all. You can be mad. People that watch the old ones can be like, "Oh, it's not who he is." Okay,
yeah,
well, he owns the IP and he can make whatever he wants to do.
Yeah, it's like the same thing with Triple X.
Like,
yeah, Triple X is like the exact same thing.
I like Triple X too. The first one, I don't remember anything else about more than the first one.
What do you mean, bro? You didn't like when Ice Cube came in and was like, "I'm Triple X, motherfucker."
I don't remember it.
I don't remember it either. And then they came out with another one where it's called The Return of Xander Cage. Yeah, and I think it has Donnie Yen in it, which is like crazy.
Triple X, the first movie was cool, and then I saw that they changed who he was in the second one, and I was like, I don't want to watch this.
You're like, when did Vin Diesel become Ice Cube? Was that part of the storyline? Yeah.
But like, it wasn't Vin Diesel, and then I was like,
I
oh,
don't
so it can be anybody.
I don't
So
remember
why do I
jack shit.
care?
I don't remember jack shit of that series. I
I
remember
don't know. I just
yeah.
remember seeing the movie and thought I was a kid, so I was like, this is hype.
Yeah. Oh, that's also another thing. What makes a Fast and Furious movie is that there's got to be a party scene where the camera basically zooms up on a lot of ladies' asses and cars.
Okay, now I'm gonna watch them.
Yeah. Every fucking movie that I'm like, okay, when's the party scene? Oh, here's the party scene, and it's just like women like dancing, like sexy dancing, but like the camera is like so far up in their fucking like hoochie shorts, and it's like, yeah, Fast and Furious.
Like, directing, he's like,
no,
closer,
and then yeah, and basically Vin Diesel is like walking like past these attractive lady, be like, yeah, it's me, Vin Diesel, and then he sees fucking Cardi B. And Cardi B's like, oh my God, it's Vin Diesel. And then she's actually part of family. Like, I'm not joking. That is actually a thing that happens in the 9th movie. Cardi B shows up and she's like, I've been part of family too.
I'm dying.
Bro,
From this goddamn bullshit.
You know how fucking bad those movies aged? Like, I think it's the 7th movie or the 6th movie. Iggy Azalea shows up for like one scene to be like, that was sick driving, Dom. That's it. I was like, Iggy Azalea? I was like, is she still making music now? Yeah. Put a poop pop pop. Like, I'm like, is she still making music now? Like, I don't know. I legitimately do not know. But they kind of stopped doing.
So 1 through 10, what are we rating all this together? The entirety of.
Okay. Too Fast, Too Furious is top for me. Funny enough, it doesn't have Vin Diesel, which is hilarious. I love the chemistry that Paul Walker and Tyrese Gibson have in that movie, and it's also the fact that like it shows another side of Brian being like, you know, this was my past life before, and here's somebody from my past that I need to help me out. And then Tyrese being like, yeah, we were homies, but you had to go and like fuck things up for me, so we're not cool anymore. And then eventually you start to progress, and it was just like, okay, now we're cool again. So Too Fast, Too Furious, number 1 for me. I feel like for the first and the third movie, it's kind of like in the same spot because they're equal, but Tokyo Drift has a little bit more above the first movie because of the style and the flair it has. But to be fair, the movie hasn't aged that well because there's some like weird like caricatures of Japanese people. Not to the extent of like, I don't know, wearing rice hats all the time, but it's like, what do you think of Japanese people back in the early 2000s? And it's like, oh, all they care about is technology and gyarus, you know, with the makeup and like the tans and spray tan. And it's like, yeah, I guess, but I mean that was like the early 2000s culture, so I can't really say. But like I was mentioning before, Tokyo Drift has more flair because of it being a different kind of racing. So I think I would have to put Tokyo Drift probably in second. As for third, oh man, maybe. Oof. Yeah, one would be 3 because I like the first one still because it's very grounded and like, you know,
Good movie.
Yeah, it is a very good movie. And then after that, I can kind of go back and forth with like the rest of them. I think what was more of a highlight might have been 5. 5 for 4. Because you have the action sequence of the safe of them driving down the street with the safe tied to them. That I think is really a really cool sequence. And then you get the introduction of the Rock being Hobbs, and he's hamming it up. You know, this is like back at the point where like people were really liking The Rock, and like he's having fun with the movie, and like obviously he's having fun. So then after 5, I feel like maybe 7, because you get the Dubai sequence when they drive from building to building in like the super fast car, in which fucking Jason Statham saves Dom's baby in an airplane, and then I'm trying to think what else happens in fucking 7.
Working mad.
No, it's not 7. It's 8. Sorry, 8 is the one where Dom gets his baby saved. God, this is the problem, is that like they all start like clashing with one another, because it's like, wait, what happened in which one?
So 8's number 5.
Yeah, I would say 8 is number 5, because then you get anti-Dom with like anti-family, and then every
76.
weapon.
Let's say with 76.
7. I think 10 would have to be 6.
Really?
Yes. The reason why I say 10 is 6 is because I think Jason Momoa is having a lot of fun, and he's essentially the Joker to Dom's Batman. And he's doing all these crazy, insane things that's actually kind of fun.
Motherfucker said Joker and Batman for Fast and Furious.
That's what it feels like. Legitimately. Legit. To the point where like fucking Jason Momoa is like, all right, let's take this race, Dom. And then they're racing, and then he blows a guy up because he put a fucking bomb underneath. And then he calls Dom and he's like, by the way, that girl that you have a close connection with, I put a bomb underneath her car. Are you gonna save her? And then Dom, or let me win this, or win the race, Dom. And then Dom's like, I gotta save her. And then you're like, why does he gotta save this girl? Why is he so interested? Oh, because she's the sister of his baby mama. That's why. There's fun to have in 10. 7, I'm trying to think about what happened the most. Obviously, 7 is kind of the, the goodbye to Paul Walker. But like, I'm trying to think, because like Jason Statham was, kind of a cool villain, but he's so one note, to the point where it's just like, wait, why is he helping Dom? Even though in like the fucking 7th movie, he's like, I'm gonna kill you, Dom, and the rest of your family. I killed Han already. And it's like, wait, why is he helping him in 8? Like, it's like that thing of just like Dom has this charisma, but the only thing that I would have to say is fair is the fact that Jason Statham has this fucking showdown with Dom, and Dom is like, that one thing about street fights is that the streets always win, and then like stomps the ground, and like they're on a parking lot, and then the parking lot collapses, and then that, I was like, that was cool. And then fucking Dom is fighting Jason Statham with dual wrenches, while Jason Statham is fighting him with like dual car parts. Like, okay, that's fine for the most part, but that is the thing, is that like it is a goodbye note to Paul Walker, but the only highlight is Jason Statham. But Jason Statham is not necessarily the main villain. He's like kind of another problem to a different villain, that's basically trying to take over the world by using a super program, a super AI program. And it's just like, okay, that was basically it. So 7 after 10. No, wait. Okay, so Too Fast to Furious, Tokyo Drift, 1, 5. What do you put it? 8. 10. 7. And then, yeah, it would have to be 9. 9, 4, and yeah, and 6. Yeah, no, that feels good. That feels good. And then Hobbs and Shaw like could go anywhere else.
6 would be the last one.
Yeah, trying to think what happens in
I
6.
was gonna ask why last for 6.
I don't think Deckard Shaw is that interesting as a villain. No, I'm not Deckard Shaw. Owen Shaw. Deckard Shaw's younger brother.
Wow.
The only interesting part is that essentially everybody on his team is like the anti-family. Like they're all counterparts for everyone.
Oh my god, the anti-family.
They're essentially the anti-family. But I don't think that they're really that interesting. And I think that's the introduction of Kurt Russell's character. Being essentially like this government guy, but he's like Black Ops government guy. They call him Mr. Nobody, which, by the way, in Fast and Furious 10, it's revealed that he has a daughter played by Brie Larson.
Name Mrs. Nobody?
Named, I forget what the fuck they call her.
Daughter Nobody?
Daughter Nobody, I think they did. And then he had like a little sidekick, Mr. Nobody, where everybody called him Little Nobody. Or Nobody Jr., some shit like that.
Seriously?
Yeah, something like that. Where it's played by Clint Eastwood's son. I forget his name.
I hate Clint Eastwood.
I forget his son's name, but yeah, 6 I would have to say is kind of like, it's okay. Actually, 6 is okay because it's kind of redeeming of the fact that it's revealed that Letty is alive. So that's where it comes into it, because essentially in the 4th movie, you think Letty's dead. The 5th movie, everybody's on the run. And then the 6th movie, it's revealed that Letty has been alive the whole time. But she has amnesia. So then, yeah, and then you get to the 7th movie where everybody is about to get murked by fucking Jason Statham.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, they're, like I said, they're not all of them are super terrible, but they are like, yeah, you can take it or leave it sometimes.
I gotcha.
Yeah. So that was my Fast and Furious experience. I appreciated when rap music came on, and I was like, yeah, where's Pitbull?
I might check them out just to fucking be able to converse with you about it. But
about more Fast and Furious shit.
Well, just to be like, I watched it.
Hey man, I'm willing to go back to the first 5 movies again.
I will probably, because I love the 3rd movie so much. Always say the 3rd one's the best.
Like I said, it has a lot more style, but I don't know why I like Too Fast Too Furious a lot more.
I like the guy that played in the 3rd one. I don't know.
Lucas Black. Yeah, I think his name is.
And then like Lil Bow Wow showing up was fun.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
Yeah, everything's fine for the most part, from what I remember of the 3rd movie. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I put it in 3 because, like I said, I like the style of it. Because everything is like it's like neon and like everything's so bright, because obviously you're driving in Tokyo.
Yeah, it's Tokyo.
Yeah. Because it's obviously that's the whole. Yeah. It's like that's the whole appeal, is that like this is a country that now a lot of people, gone to.
What if you raced and there was anime?
And there was yeah. No, never mind. That's what essentially the series becomes. It becomes anime. Yeah. Because all the bad guys eventually turn into like best friends with the main character, because the main character's so honorable. Honorable. So yeah, that's Fast and Furious. Those are the movies that I watched.
He went fast and now he's furious.
And I'm super furious because now I have to wait for the next movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I'm just gonna run through the stuff that I played.
Run.
Let's see. Did I talk about Metal Gear Solid? I think I did last time.
Yeah.
I beat Star Wars Outlaws.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. 7 out of 10 for me. I liked it.
Looks boring.
What's boring?
I said it looks boring.
Oh. No, but this is, like I said, this is coming from somebody that likes Ubisoft trash.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind.
That's
Keep that in mind because like my tastes vary from other people because you know
no.
I'm somebody that probably will like playing the Assassin's Creed game currently.
Oh, that one doesn't look bad though.
That one doesn't look bad. The only thing that I saw that like I don't know whether or not they used AI for some of the NPC voices because a lot of them sound very bland.
Mirage. So I have a friend that plays all the Assassin's Creed games,
Mhm.
and he got Mirage, and he was like, "I don't know why I bought it. It's so bad." He was like, "I should have waited for the other one and bought the new one," because now he's like burnt.
Oh,
So he's
really?
like, "I don't want to play the new one because I just played a shit one." So like,
Yeah. That's what I felt like when I finished Odyssey. Is just like I think I'm gonna put these games down because Valhalla is there's a shit ton of stuff in it. So that's why I was like, I'm going to wait till I get into Valhalla. Um, so you know, I was like, let me play Star Wars Outlaws, and Star Wars Outlaws is open world. I was mentioning, like, I think last podcast is that like the strong suit is the Star Wars um art design for a lot of the worlds. Like the landscape designs are just like crazy, and I really like it because it makes you feel like you're on an alien planet. They look really really good. The main character is kind of hit or miss. Like I was mentioning before, she feels a little too anachronistic. Like she feels like it feels like somebody from our world got just like thrown into Star Wars, and like she's just there trying to figure things out or how things work. Um, but the thing that I was kind of disappointed in is that like I was expecting more like Sly Cooper kind of, but like more specifically like Sly Cooper 2, you know, where you start controlling the rest of your crew members and they get to like be part of the story. That doesn't really happen in this where you're just your main character. Um and it's funny because it's like the game is called Star Wars Outlaws. So, you know, with it being plural, I thought, oh, there's going to be more, you know, you get to have your buddies and like do stuff with them, do some heists with them. And it's not really the case. It's just like do a mission, deliver it to a person, and that's essentially it. The interesting part of the game, and I mentioned this before, is that you have a reputation system. So that is kind of the neat part of just like who do you get to side with a little bit more, and like what do they give you in turn. But it all becomes very basic to the fact that like, oh, you know, I become friends with this clan because they give me items, and it's like, why do I want to become friends with this clan? Because they give me items, and it's like that's for everyone. It's just like they just give me more stuff, and that's basically it.
yeah.
So it like I said, but to be fair, I did have fun. I did enjoy my time with it. Is it the perfect game? No. Is it a game that I would say that if you're a Star Wars fan, you need to play this now? No. The ending sequence is pretty interesting, but it's crazy to think that like that is the only sequence that happens in the game, which is basically you kind of have to sneak around, activate some stuff while all the while avoiding a boss that's like searching for you. But that's basically it. That's the ending sequence. And will they do a sequel for this? Don't know. I don't know if it sold well. I know it's coming out to the Switch 2. So if you want to play on your Switch 2, go right ahead.
Mhm.
But yeah, I 100% completed it. I did the DLC stuff. The DLC stuff was actually pretty fun. Doing the essentially the blackjack heist mission. Essentially it is you're stealing the moon, funny enough. But there's another DLC story thing that's going to happen, I think, in a couple months. They're still planning on it, so I'll probably be waiting for that. But for the most part, yeah, Star Wars Outlaws is donezo. So yeah, but like I said, 7 out of 10. I enjoyed my time with it. What else did I play? You ever heard of a game called Card Shark?
Yeah, I don't remember it though.
Okay. I believe there was a demo for it like a while back. So I beat it. It's not really a card game. It's more of a memory puzzle game. I feel like this is a game that might frustrate some people. There were moments where like I felt stupid because there are certain things that you have to remember. It's memory based because like you kind of have to trick people of like how you're going to cheat them essentially. Because the whole premise is that you're this dude who gets found by this other con man, and you essentially have to cheat other people to get money from them. The story progresses a little bit more to kind of tell you that like there's a whole conspiracy happening. But each mission kind of tells you, okay, here's this new way to cheat your opponents. So there's this whole thing where you're basically shown, okay, here's how you should shuffle the cards in order to get like a better hand. So it teaches you, okay, do the shuffle, great, remember that. So then you get further into like the game a little bit more, and it's like, here's a new way to cheat. Your buddy character is going to hand you a deck of cards. You grab it from him as you're pouring wine. He'll slip it into your pocket. You go get a new bottle of wine. While you're getting the new bottle of wine, you essentially take the card pack, look for the good cards, mark it on the back with a little design, and then give it back. And then he gives out the cards, and you have to essentially like look around to see who has the better hands. And it's like this whole thing of like figuring things out as a puzzle. Overall, it was good. I enjoyed it, but like I said, it is more puzzle and memory based. And if you have a good memory, you'll probably like it. Yeah. And then the last thing that Chonch went really ham in, Uncharted 2 and Uncharted 3.
Nice.
I played the crushing difficulty for both of them. 2, fantastic. Fucking great. Great ass game. It's like Temple of Doom for me. 3, I realized I did not have a good memory of 3. 3 is a little sloppy with its story. There's some neat stuff that they try to do, especially the whole thing with the djinn and like what that is. But
that's the one where they pulled the thing from the water.
Yes, it's real that everything that you've been seeing of like the djinns is essentially a hallucinogenic that's affecting you because it's in the water. But like I was saying, is that like it feels a little messy because you're introduced to these characters and like there are certain things that kind of don't get resolved, or like it feels like some stuff was like leading up to something and then it just never got explained, and it feels weird sometimes. There's a character specifically, Talbot, where he felt like almost supernatural, but then he just dies, and then it's just like, no, he was just a dude the whole time. But I'm like, but why did you build him up to feel supernatural? Like I didn't get it. But overall, I like the origin story of how Nathan met Sully back in Colombia, and I'm like, that's neat. Yeah. So overall, it was good. 3 and 2, playing on the crushing difficulty. Oh my god, I don't think I could go back and play that game on the brutal difficulty, which is the difficulty above crushing, because you get to that sequence in 2 where you have to fight the Yeti guys, the Tibetan Yetis.
Yeah.
And those guys are brutal because they use crossbows, which does a shit ton of damage, while at the same time they're able to take more damage, and they chase you around. And there's a sequence where you have to fight 3 of them in an arena, and like one of them is shooting at you, another one is shooting at you, and another one is trying to like chase you down. And like it gets pretty brutal. It gets pretty brutal. But overall 2 is very good. So with that, I started playing Uncharted 4 on crushing. You falling asleep?
No.
Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. I see you. Thinking about family.
I think the second one is probably my favorite one.
Thinking about family.
The first one's definitely my all-time favorite. Did you play... I don't know if it was like a mix of between the third and the fourth, where Chloe was like a main character.
Oh, that's the fourth game's expansion story. Yeah, I played that one. Lost Legacy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was actually not that bad.
That one was good. I like that one. That's why I'm playing through 4 again, because I'm like, I don't remember anything that happens in 4 as much. And then Lost Legacy, I remember playing it, but like I don't remember anything because it's been a while. I was looking at like the last time I played it, it's 2016. So it's near a decade at this point.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Those games are still better than Indiana Jones. Just saying. Anyway, so
why you say this?
Because I hate Indiana Jones.
Why you do this?
Did you beat the Indiana Jones game?
Yeah. Did I like it? Yeah. Have I replayed it? No.
Didn't have fun with it.
I liked it. It's
I wanted to
interesting.
have fun with it. I wanted it to be fun to me. But
It's interesting because it's like it feels more Hitman than first-person shooter action game. So
that's true.
Yeah, but I mean it's kind of the point because like Indiana Jones had some firefights at times, but like he's not like a one-man army. Even though there are moments where he kind of feels like a one-man army, specifically in The Last Crusade. Anyways, but yeah, Uncharted, good game. I'm
gonna go through on Brutal.
Oh God, I think that I might make that a stream thing instead. Me playing Brutal. We'll see how that goes, but
35 seconds. Fuck.
I'm gonna wait for like next year because like I don't want to burn myself out with Uncharted.
That's fair.
Let's see the other shit. I didn't beat, but I'm currently playing. Kingdom Come Deliverance. Obviously, still playing that. The first one. I like it. I really like it. I got to a chapter where like it's fucking insane on like where it goes. I guess to kind of give a gist is that like right now I was given a mission to go find a bunch of bandits that murdered people from a village.
Spoilers.
I ended up going to a village that one of the bandits was linked to, and there is a thing that happens where apparently that guy got killed in like the most brutal way possible. They essentially like nailed him to the wall and basically gutted him and like took his entrails out. So it's like, holy shit, like this is like some kind of fucking Hannibal Lecter, 7 fucking murder. And then all of a sudden no, so then I have to go talk to the town to be like, hey, do you know if this guy had any connections with anybody and this and that? And everybody's like, no. There is one thing that we did see is that he went to go talk to the priest over at our local church, and they talked about something. So you go talk to the priest, and the priest is like, I can't tell you what he told me in confession. That would be breaking my vow, and like there's a lot of things that like I can't say because like I would get excommunicated as a priest. And then your main character, Henry, is just like, but people are going to die. And he's like, yeah, but think about the souls, my soul and his soul, I have to protect that for the name of God. And he's like, yeah, but we're talking about people now. Like your main character is just like, we can save them. And he's like, I can't tell you. Maybe we might be able to find a way so you can get me to tell you. And it's just like, okay. So he's like, you know what? I don't want to argue. Let's go to the inn. Let's go get us a couple drinks, get to know each other a little bit more. And I was like, okay, fine. So you go to the inn, and then the game gives you an option of being like, do you want to continue drinking with the priest? So I was like, yeah, all right. Fucking you're given it like a 5-minute cutscene of you going on a fucking bender with this priest. And you're just like fucking fighting dudes on the street that want you to go back home because it's curfew. Like you're with a bunch of like women who are just like, we're hanging out with you. And then you wake up, you're fucking hungover. And then now I'm in the circumstance where the priest is like, dude, I'm so like I have like the worst headache and I feel like I'm gonna throw up. Can you just help me with the morning sermon? And you're like, what? And he's like, look. I'll tell you what he told me if you help me with this fucking sermon. And you're like, ah, all right, fuck it. All right, I'll help you with the fucking sermon. All right.
Yeah.
And then the priest is like, okay, do you remember a conversation we had yesterday? Bring that up in the sermon. I can't remember for shit what I said. And you're like, oh, okay. So it's just like the interesting stuff that happens within the game that like I really enjoy. But this is kind of the thing that I feel like you're gonna get with the experience of 2, is that you basically start from nothing. The game kind of like throws you into the fucking den of the wolves of just like, you don't know how to sword fight. How the fuck are you gonna fight those bandits, bro?
Mhm.
And it's like, run away. That's the only thing you could do.
I'm excited.
Yeah, even then, like learning how to shoot a bow and arrow is the hardest thing you can do in that game, because the game does not give you a reticle to shoot with a bow and arrow.
Oh no.
You basically have to feel it out, while at the same time you have a stamina bar basically telling you, okay, you have this amount of time before it goes down to shoot. There was a mission where I was with a nobleman, and he's like, let's go hunting. And I was like, okay. And he's like, all right, let's have us a little competition. If you're able to get more rabbits than I am, then I'll give you some gold. And he's like, okay. So then you have to go around a forest, look for some rabbits, shoot them. But that was the thing, is that like you're not good at shooting the bow and arrow, so it's like you're having a harder time with it. Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of things that like the game kind of like throws you into. But to be fair, everything is pretty much pretty fun for the most part. It's essentially what I've seen people refer to as the peasant simulator.
Mm.
But yeah, good time. What else? I've been going a little bit more with Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon. That's a good ass mech game. If you want good ass mech games, good time. I played a little bit, like maybe like 20 minutes of Trails in the Sky. That's a JRPG. Yeah, that one's also good. I've been playing a little bit more of Tekken 8 with this new season 2 patch. I kind of want to talk about it, but when we get to the news. Then after that, been replaying The Witcher 3, because it's been a while since I played The Witcher 3. I fucking love The Witcher 3. And then the other stuff I have been futzing around with a little bit.
I'm excited for The Witcher 4.
I'm very excited for The Witcher 4 as well. Played a little bit of this game called I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. I really dig it. The narrative behind it is very interesting. It's basically a point and click game. It was recently remastered by was it Night Dive? I don't remember. Yes, Night Dive. So it got an HD remaster. Kind of looks a little old, little dated, but the story is very interesting. And then obviously Monster Hunter Wilds got a update as well. I've been meaning to actually play that. I will be checking that out at some point, because there's new monsters in it and new armor sets. Because at this point I'm just collecting both female and male armors for my character. So that's where I've kind of gotten into Monster Hunter. And with that is it. That's what Chonch has been up to. We do it. We do it. I also bought a book on like how to bake, and I'm kind of gonna go through my baking phase. But it would have to depend, because my mom's like, oh, I'm not eating them as much like sweets, so like I'm losing weight, so kind of deterring from that a little bit. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, if you have fun doing it, just do it for fun.
Yeah, I kind of want to do it. Anything else? No, I think that might be it. All right, you want to rush through this news, or do you want to
take a small break?
Take a small break. Okay, take a small break. All right, we're back. I got myself cookies.
Sick.
They're like the Spanish off-brand Oreos.
Nice.
Not bad. All right. Sorry, chewing through cookies. Before we get to the major thing, let's talk about some other things that we missed out on. So there has been some layoffs from both Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal. Crystal Dynamics laid off 17 people. Eidos Montreal laid off 75. Embracer owns Eidos, and then I forget who owns Crystal Dynamics.
Crystal Dynamics was dead, bro.
Embracer also owns them. Okay, so there you go. So embracing.
Whoa.
Yep, they be embracing. Oh my god, you got evil sinister light.
All I did was turn off my light. Okay.
All right. The next thing, did you find out, like I did, that Ubisoft has basically created another subsidiary that Tencent owns now? So under that new subsidiary, they are responsible for Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six. So I believe, let's see, the subsidiary has been valued at 4 billion euros. Tencent will be investing 1.16 billion euros to gain a minority stake of around 25%. So we'll see how that goes, because basically Ubisoft has been kind of in a weird position because I think they are about to suffer bankruptcy, but I guess kind of a Hail Mary throw got Tencent interested. So Tencent is now partnered with Ubisoft just for this subsidiary. But who knows down the line that maybe Tencent might be like, maybe you guys want to way out. Maybe you want a golden parachute. We'll see. Speaking about golden parachutes, that didn't fucking come out. So Tekken got a Season 2 pass, and it came up with its new update. The update, when shown, was a little controversial. A lot of people that play Tekken competitively were like, I don't know how I feel about this, because there were a lot of changes to the mechanics. I think the one being tech throwing. If you tech out of throws, you get chip damage. A lot of people didn't like that because that essentially punishes the person getting out of the throw, which doesn't make sense. But they're like, we'll see how this goes. So the recent patch came out, and it was not received well because currently on Steam, Tekken is under mostly negative user reviews due to this patch. So I've been trying to figure out whether or not this patch means anything, because I'm a casual player. I like playing Tekken. I like playing as Clive. But seeing how the bigger Tekken heads are actually explaining this, and how it's essentially, this patch was like, fuck it, let's ball for all the characters, to the point where it doesn't feel like you're fighting the player, it feels like you're fighting the character, to the extent of like every character feels the same. That each character has a 50-50 mix-up, to the point where a lot of the 50-50 mix-up there's no way to defend it properly. And a lot of characters got buffed. By most characters, all the characters got buffed to the point where like nobody has a weakness. And it's just like the game feels unbalanced. So it's interesting. I don't know what Bandai Namco is going to do about this. I don't know if they're going to do anything, because the thing is that they mentioned before the patch came out that they were planning on making the game a little bit more defensive and giving you more options on how to defend yourself. But it seems like they went the opposite way, being like, well, you get minor defensive options, but everybody's buffed to hell that everybody can fucking do crazy ass shit. Because there was an example of one of the characters, Jack 8, where he has this new move that is virtually impossible to get out of. It's essentially a move that traps you. So you can't do anything against that. There's no way of getting around it. People are trying to figure out ways to get around it, but it's not necessarily working. So yeah, Tekken 8 is currently in a weird state where only God knows when the next patch is going to come out. But until then, this game is in a very, very weird state. A lot of people say it's akin to how the last Dragon Ball Fighters patch is. That it's like, fuck it, everybody is fucking crazy in this game. Everybody is hyper fucking crazy. Everybody does a shit ton of damage. Go nuts. That's what it feels like, even though this is only the second season. So we'll probably see another patch, like maybe when another character drops, or who knows beforehand. Because a lot of people were saying that like there are some weird bugs that happen within the game that I don't think were intentional. I can't really think of what comes to mind, but yeah, Tekken's in a very weird, very, very weird state. But like I said, as somebody that plays casual, I don't really feel it because of the fact that like I was always not great at Tekken, but I love playing the game, so we'll see. All right, now once we got all that small shit out the way, let's talk about this big shit. I'll hand it to you, bro. What's this big shit?
They put Mario Kart out. We can go now. That was it.
All right. Thanks for coming to the podcast.
Switch 2 is trash. I don't know. Yeah, so Switch 2 is out. / not really out.
But out.
We got announced at the Nintendo Direct. It's gonna be released June 5th.
So here's the thing. We live in America, bro.
Is it getting pushed back for us?
The pre-orders are getting pushed back.
Okay.
Because we have to wait how these tariffs are going to hit us. So,
well, right now it's priced at $450 for the base Switch for us. We'll see if that changes, and then $500 for the mix in with the
Mario Kart.
Mario Kart. How do you feel about the
Mario Kart
cartridges that don't have the game on it?
Angry, confused,
yep. Stupid,
disappointed. But Nintendo has been doing that, for as long as they've done the Switch. Like, I think it wasn't until like a little bit later down the Switch line where they're like, all right, the game can't fit, so you're gonna have to download it. And it's gotten to the point where it's just like, all right, you just don't get the physical game. You just have to download it from a card. It sucks. I personally don't like that. But it's just how it is, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, it genuinely it doesn't feel good because of the fact that like you don't own the game. That's why I like sticking to physical, but that's because I'm a crazy person. But it, so this is dependent if you're able to buy it.
The games they announced were Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bonanza.
Wait. Before we get into games, let's talk about peripherals. Are you excited for the camera?
No, I don't care about any of it.
Wow. Okay.
Camera's like 18 years old.
The camera's quality is interesting. Because I think it's like it looks like it's like 480p. Like it looks like it's a very low resolution. But it kind of makes sense because it's like you're not really focusing on the camera.
Well, you could get the Piranha Plant version if you really want,
You could get that one. But it's bizarre. And then even then I guess the microphone is improved, or the addition of a microphone is the crazy part. Because the microphone is supposed to pick up on your audio while things are happening in the background, kind of having like a noise isolation thing happening. But we'll see how that works. They're integrating a chat to the Switch, which before was an app that you had to use on your phone. It was really badly like implemented because essentially you had to download an app to chat with other people on Switch on your phone. So it was goofy. The other thing is micro express cards are the new standard for this thing, not the original micro SDs. So now you have to use express cards. The prices for those are a little all over the place. I believe the 1 terabyte currently is $100 or almost nearing 200. I forget how much it is. So you can get 280 something. I forget how much it is. How many gigabytes it is that you can get. I think it's like 2 something and then 5 something and then 1 terabyte. But they obviously updated the size of the internal memory for this thing, which I believe is like 280 something as well. 280 something gigs. The other thing that was mentioned, because they kind of like showed off this thing again, is that now the Joy-Con, the sticks are a bit bigger, the screen is a bit bigger. The other thing is the Joy-Con 2 can be used like a mouse almost. There is like a mouse like movement option, which is interesting. What else? New Pro controller. The mention that the C button is essentially the chat button that's been put down. And that's basically it for peripherals. So keep in mind, if you want more storage space for your shit, you gotta have to buy micro SD express cards. The other thing I wanted to mention is they showed off, according to them, 3 different types of Switch games. Right? Well, 2, if you want to really get technical about it, because essentially it's a Switch game upgraded for the Switch 2 and then Switch 2 games. So the upgrades are coming to Kirby and the Forgotten Land. They're coming to Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom and Super Mario Party Jamboree. And yep, those are the games that are going to be upgraded. They are planning to put out more upgraded games, so it would be interesting to see how Pokemon Violet and Scarlet will run on that thing. But I wouldn't hold my breath, so I don't know. I forget, you threw out your copy, right?
Sold, yeah.
Yeah. But besides that, they also talked about implementing a new game sharing system that they're thinking of doing. Or
I
they're
also wouldn't buy the Switch 2, by the way.
You would not buy
Like,
it?
because you said you threw your copy, I was like, even if I had it, I wouldn't go get a Switch 2 to play Scarlet. I don't want to play any of this shit, man. Like,
What do you mean Pokemon A through Z is coming out? What the fuck it's called? I forget what it's called.
it's not worth a $500 console to play a Pokemon game. It would be very much different if it was like, we know when Samus is coming. We know that we're getting a new Donkey Kong. We know that we're getting a new Zelda. We know that we're getting a new Mario.
If you
all those, I'm sure.
If you wanted the peripherals, it would be $1,000 console.
Terrible.
All right, excuse yourself.
Depending on what they change when it comes through with them tariff bullshits.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. President. Yeah, so I'm personally going to wait, obviously, for the price change to see what the fuck it's actually going to be released as. The other thing is that the only game that is calling to me for this thing, or 2 games are calling to me for this thing, is Donkey Kong and the Dusk Bloods. Those are the 2, but we'll get to that when what they announced.
Dusk Blood does not look good.
But that's a person that doesn't like Elden Ring. Sorry.
No, there's a difference. I'm not good at Elden Ring.
You hate Elden Ring. I get it.
I pointed out that I couldn't beat Elden Ring.
Yeah, I get it. I know. You hate the game just because they're top tier Japanese players playing the game, beating you at the Elden Ring, claiming the Elden Ring. Yeah, I know. But before we get into the games, they talked about their new game sharing ecosystem, essentially. That when you own a game digitally, it will come up as a digital cartridge. Don't know what the fuck that means, but essentially I think they want to like get it clear onto their investors on how this thing works. Because it's like, okay, if you don't have the physical thing, here's a digital cartridge. And if you want to share it with another person, you have the ability to do that by you basically sharing the digital cartridge with somebody that can have it for 2 weeks, and then it returns back to you. So that's interesting, I guess. Don't really know what else you can gain from that. Um, but yeah, that was kind of a neat little thing.
Well, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, it is an interesting idea, but you just have to see whether or not it's implemented well and
But instead,
what.
you should just buy cartridges that don't have games on it. Do that one first. That's a better
Yeah.
idea.
Oh yeah, this is what they said about 3 games: Nintendo Switch 2 games, compatible Nintendo Switch games, and Nintendo Switch 2 and edition games. Yeah, it's just technically the Switch 2, Nintendo Switch, and then Nintendo Switch games that get upgraded. Those are like the 3 games that they have. Um Yeah, because I'm trying to figure out the specifics for this fucking thing of like what it means about the sharing. Um, oh, what does it mean? What does it mean? What does it all mean?
It means that you share your game.
Yeah, I think that's basically it. You can just share. Um, yeah, you can share with other people. I think like up to 4 people with specific games. They're trying to implement it to like obviously multiplayer stuff. I think what they were showing was the
They pointed out that your console needs to be on their Wi-Fi when you're starting the share.
yeah. So that's also the other thing. So we'll see. I don't know whether or not it's like direct game streaming, if that's how that's going to work. But we'll see when this thing comes out in June.
Metroid Beyond is going to have 4K at 60 frames per second.
That's also the other thing is that they talked about the screen. Is that the screen undocked is 720. No, it's 1080. Excuse me, 1080, and then docked is 4K, and then you have the ability of docked 4K, 60 or 120. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just had to see how this thing actually plays. Get hands on. The thing is that I've been hearing from other outlets that like the hands on is pretty good. You know, like playing it undocked is pretty fun, and then playing the new games is also really fun. But when Chonch eventually gets one in the year 2065, I'll say when it's good. After we've hit the Mad Max apocalypse, because tariffs. We'll see how this goes. But I don't want to take this thunder away from you. Give us the games. What games did they tell us we can have?
Oh, my thunder has been taken. Help.
Do you want to talk about Mario Kart World, I guess?
No.
Oh.
All this shit's dumb. Mario Kart World, you can drive around without going into the game, actually. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it's essentially become Burnout Paradise, but Mario.
So Mario Kart World got announced, Donkey Kong Bonanza got announced. Jamboree's old, you said?
Jamboree
Or
is a Switch game, but it's getting the enhanced version.
Switch 2 edition, yeah. Kirby Forgotten Land, Switch 2 edition. Breath of the Wild, Switch 2 edition. Tears of the Kingdom, Switch 2 edition. Street Fighter 6, Split Fiction, Hogwarts Legacy, Hitman, Assassination, Signature Edition. Yakuza 0, Chonch is so happy right now.
I'm very interested about that director's cut.
Bravely Default. The Deltarune chapters 1 to 4. I don't know what that is.
Deltarune?
Huh?
Deltarune.
Oh, Deltarune. Chapters 1 to 6. Civilization 7. Survival Kid, Cyberpunk 2077. Kuna Itsugami. Path of the Goddess.
You're fading in and out with your background. Yeah, no, you're good now.
Payu Payu Tetris. Rune Factory. Apparently those are good games.
I think this is a spin-off. Guardians of
Nope.
Azuma.
No Bunagas.
Nobunaga.
Nobunaga. That's fun. Ambition Awakening Complete Edition. Fast Fusion, not Fast and the Furious. Fortnite. Arcade Archives. 2 Ridge Racer, and
Ridge
these
Racer.
are launch games.
Yes.
And then GameCube games. What are those? The emulation games. Legend of Zelda: Wind Waker, Soul Calibur 2, F-Zero GX. And then there's a whole list of other games for partner games that aren't coming out right away, but are going to be there.
So Elden Ring, your favorite game, Hades 2, Daemon X Machina, Titanic Scion, the EA sports games, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4. IO Interactive said that their 007 game is going to come out to the Switch 2. Borderlands 4, WWE, NBA 2K, Enter the Gungeon 2, Starseeker Astronomer Expeditions, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, Intergrade, Hollow Knight Silksong, Story of Seasons Grand Bazaar, Goodnight Universe, 2 Point Museum, Wild Hearts S, Witchbrook, Marvel Cosmic Invasion, Star Wars Outlaws, Shadow Labyrinth, Raito Remastered, The Mystery of the Soulless Army, No Sleep for Konami Date from AI The Somnium Files, Reanimal, Professor Layton and the New World of Steam, Tamagotchi Plaza, Human Fall Flat 2, and then the banger that is the Switch exclusive games. So we got Mario Kart, of course. We got Drag X Drive, Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, The Dusk Bloods, Kirby Air Riders, and Donkey Kong Bonanza. So some of the games that are getting Switch 2 enhancements are getting additional stuff. So Super Mario Party Jamboree is getting an additional minigame thing called Jamboree TV. Kirby is getting a DLC thing. I forget what it's called, but it's here. They showed a little bit more Pokemon ZA, a little bit more gameplay of Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, and Kirby Star-Crossed Worlds. So that is happening with that. Oh, which I forgot to mention, I'm playing through Kirby currently. The Forgotten Land. That game fucking it rocks. That's a good game. It's fun. And yes, that's essentially it. Just more details about the game chat and the Joy-Cons and all the peripherals and shit. But I would say, what do you think? Are you excited for the Switch 2? What is a game that you're excited for?
Kirby Air Riders.
Okay, fair enough. I never played the GameCube one.
Original one. It was good.
Never played it. Is it just like a racing game?
Yep.
Okay.
It was fun though.
Good to know. Good to know.
I really don't like Dust Bloods. I think that looks so bad. Like after watching the trailer, the visuals look.
I mean, that's most From Software games.
Nintendo's always just so fucking behind, man.
Well, I mean, From Software games, they're just like your character.
Who made Elden Ring?
From Software.
The game looks amazing. What do you mean?
Well, it's dependent on what we're talking about. What looks bad about the Duskbloods?
The overall
the graphics?
It just looks bad. I mean, no, it's on a Switch. No. I know, like.
I mean, but Elden Ring is coming out on a Switch. I don't know. I'm curious to see what they intend with the Duskbloods because of the fact that Miyazaki came out with a statement saying that this thing is multiplayer. So I don't
bet that Elden Ring runs like ass on this, by the way.
They showed a little bit of gameplay for Elden Ring. It looks like it's running pretty fine, but we'll see, because even then the Steam Deck can barely handle fucking Elden Ring. But From Software PC ports tend to be a little wonky with their optimizations. But I'm curious as to see what the Duskbloods is if this is like Bloodborne, Elden Ring, Night Rain kind of thing, because that's what it seems like this is going to be. But I honestly don't know. Yeah, because like Night Rain didn't really grasp me as much as No, I've seen gameplay of it. I'm like, nah, it doesn't. I don't know.
You don't even know because you didn't play it.
I didn't play it, but I don't have two other people that want to play it. One guy says he hates it, and the other guy is just straight up jorking it at the
I said I want
Minecraft
to play
movie.
that one. That's what I like Elden Ring. I'm bad at Elden Ring. There's a difference.
You just hate Elden Ring. You hate it when the ring is like you're the Elden, and you're like, no, don't
I
call
hope a
me
ring
old.
fucking throws you into a fire.
Lord of the Rings. um,
Well,
I
the SanDisk, and the Samsung memory card have a Mario hat on it.
oh man, that'd be cool. But I'm just
No, it
curious.
does.
It does. But I'm just curious as to like how this game is gonna run, and how. I think the biggest curiosity is Elden Ring because of how big that game is on this thing. Obviously, they upgraded the amount of RAM and the processing power for this thing. I think they even made mention that like it's using a chip that is able to implement AI of sorts. I don't know what the fuck that means, but I don't know. You know, AI is a big thing now.
What's included in the box is a Switch 2 console,
Mhm.
controller left and right, a grip, a strap, a dock, an ultra high speed HDMI cable, a Switch ACA adapter, a USB-C charging cable. In case you're wondering.
I appreciate that.
No
I,
problem, man.
I can't wait. So here's the thing. This is the biggest controversy. Mario Kart World is an $80 game
Mhm.
compared to the rest that are going to be $70. Why is it $80 for this thing? And this brings up a whole other topic of they're going to try to make this the industry standard now.
Mhm. Yeah.
Which I do agree with that like that's fucked up, of the fact that like this is going to be an $80 game while even Donkey Kong is going to be $70. But even then, you got Mario Party Jamboree and Kirby being $79 as well. Oh, and Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, those are going to be $80 games as well. So it's like, what is going on? Is it
What
because
is going on?
is it because of the fact that like it's supposed to be a $10 upgrade? Is that what's the idea? That the price is $70, but then you get a $10 upgrade, and that makes it cost $80.
It's bad games
I'm
more expensive.
it's unfortunate. It sucks because me personally, I'm interested in the Duskbloods. I'm really interested in Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong looks great.
I think Donkey Kong looks fun.
Donkey Kong looks really, really fun.
I think $80 Donkey Kong game doesn't look fun though.
It's 70, so we're okay with that. I'm
Wait,
okay.
is it really 70?
Yeah, it's 70.
Unfortunate.
Yeah. So
Still don't want to buy it because Nintendo sucks and I hate them.
like I said,
They made me hate them. It's their fault.
I will be waiting for this thing. I'll actually be waiting for more information about the Duskbloods. But I'll probably be waiting for this thing to lower in price whenever the tariffs don't decide to obliterate the rest of the United States. But yeah, we just have to wait for the actual price of this thing and anything that really like calls out to people, because you know, that's the thing, is that like a lot of these games are interesting, but these are things that you can play in other systems, probably at a better frame rate and things. I, as a Yakuza fan, am really interested if they're going to do the director's cut on like anything else besides Switch, but I don't know. I don't think so, but I would like to see. The other thing I'm curious about is how other Switch games would run on this thing. So, you know, games that like didn't run well running on this on the Switch 2, to see whether or not it's an improvement or it's just software problems.
Mhm.
Yeah. So give me your
Answer.
copy of Scarlet. Give
If I
me,
had it,
yeah. If you didn't throw it out in the trash.
you wish is what I did.
Yeah. Kirby Air Riders, by the way, being developed with Masahiro Sakurai, the father of Kirby. So nice to see that he's coming back to video games.
He really came back.
He's like, my boy needs me. My Kirby needs me.
For real though.
For real, for real.
Yeah, for real, for real.
For real, for real. So yeah, that is the Switch 2. Chonch is interested, Howler hates it, but we'll see how this goes.
Agreed.
We'll see. We'll see when. What's your favorite game?
Of what? The Switch 2?
No, of all time.
Diablo.
We'll see when the Switch 2 has Diablo 5 in it, exclusive to the Nintendo Switch.
Guess I wouldn't be playing that game.
Oh man, now I want to play fucking Diablo 3 on my Switch.
Why?
I like Diablo 3, but that's because I like the arcadey shit.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. All right, that's it for podcast. We did it. We did it, y'all. Oh, I wanted to mention something.
This is America.
This is America. I'm gonna been out. No, been out.
You want to mention something?
Yeah, there was something that I was playing. I mentioned Kirby. But there was something else that I was doing that I forgot to mention. Oh, I started watching this Netflix series called Adolescence.
Mhm.
It's only 4 episodes. I'm at the last episode. It's pretty interesting, but I can kind of understand where some people might be like, "Oh, the message is trying to hit me over the head way too much." But I do like the nuances of the show because of because of what's happening in the current climate with young men. It affects a lot of people. Even though this is a fictional scenario, it is interesting to see the fallout of that scenario and being like, how do you explain all this? And is there an actual way of fixing it? Because the whole series is this 13-year-old kid is suspected of murdering a 13-year-old girl. And then it kind of does a deep dive into the whole thing of toxic masculinity and the manosphere. And specifically, they make a call out to Andrew Tate, say that, like, you know, the shit that Andrew Tate talks about. Sorry, and I know you're a big fan of Andrew Tate. You've told me behind the scenes.
No, I'm confused what you're saying.
Oh, okay. Do you know who Andrew Tate is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What about him?
This show, Adolescence, talks about the problem of toxic masculinity.
Right.
And specifically at the fact that the main kid who's suspected of murder is suspected that he follows this whole idea of toxic masculinity and what our kids are susceptible to when interacting with social media. And because of the height of Andrew Tate, you know, he is mentioned because he is kind of the proprietor of these things, of the idea of men need to act like men and dominate women.
Right.
Yeah. So
you don't like it?
Huh?
You don't like the show?
No, I'm digging the show because it shows the nuances of, okay, what is going on with this kid's head? Is there a way to actually solve the problem of toxic masculinity? Is toxic masculinity so far ingrained into our society that it is impossible to get it out? And the repercussions of becoming so toxic that you take a situation like this kid suspected of murdering a girl under the pretenses of the parents being like, no, my kid is innocent. My kid will never do anything like this. And the idea of, like, as a parent, how hard is it to raise a child in a world where social media is so ingrained into young people that the only information they consume is only on social media? Because they do a really interesting thing within the show where you meet the parents, and the parents are just like kind of like figuring out what to do, and then you get the idea that, like, the dad feels like he's failed because of the whole situation, what's happening with his son.
Sounds like he failed.
Like I said, it's a very interesting show. It's very, very interesting because it's like we talked about this, about the whole thing of, like, when you have a kid who has committed murder, and as a parent, how the fuck do you feel about that?
Yeah.
And it's like the like I said, the nuances of just like you can't move because this shit will follow you. You don't feel welcome at your current home because people in the neighborhood knows about this shit. So it's like, what do? You're essentially trapped. And you start to think, did I fail? Like, what didn't I see? What didn't I catch for my kid?
Yeah.
There's a very interesting thing with the third episode where the kid is being evaluated by a psychiatrist. And this kid, I start to realize that, like, oh, this kid's doing the shit that you would learn from like the manosphere shit of like, how do you assert dominance? You have to like, command the conversation. You kind of have to steer it in the direction that you want. But because he's a kid, it's like it's so conflicting because of the fact that like social media has taught you to act this way, but you're starting to question it, and it's also starting to get to a point where you start to realize that like it's a contradiction to how people act. But because of you viewing it as a contradiction, other people who are into this shit view it as weak and view it as not a man. And I think that is the interesting part of that show of just like kids now, dude, I could not be a teacher because like it's tough, it's hard, and it's especially with kids now, especially with young boys of like, a man is a man, and then on social media it's like you see dudes being men, and it's like that's how you're a man. My dad's not a man. My dad says he loves me. I hate that. That's weak. That's beta shit. I'm an alpha male. I'm 13 years old and this is deep. Like that kind of shit.
Yeah, they're all like stupid for sure.
Yeah, it like I said, it shows within that show that the kid has like insane contradictions. Like to the degree where the psychiatrist is just like, you understand what you're saying, right? Like you are not getting the full idea of what a man is. You are basically regurgitating the shit that you heard and thinking that that is what a man is supposed to be. And it's like, you understand your predicament, right? Like you're suspected of murdering a girl your age, and the way that you're trying to say that you're innocent is, it's not looking well for you, because even then in the show shows you that like there is clear evidence that the kid did it, like very clear. But it's how it goes. So I'm on the last episode. I'm very curious to see how it ends. But the one thing that I appreciate is that the show essentially does it in one long take. So you're kind of like transitioning to like different characters with like the camera walking around with other people and like seeing how the world works. But like I said, like it's the nuances of like society as well, where like the kid goes to school, and like the kids around him are also pricks because they also adopt this idea of the manosphere, and like, oh, this kid's a little bitch, he's weak, like he's a beta cuck. And then, girls also take that because it's like, oh, all these boys are learning this shit, so they're fucking assholes. And there's a lot of like shit that like, I wouldn't say hit me on like a level of like, what's what I'm looking for? Like there was some stuff in the show that I was like, ooh, like I've seen that, and that is unfortunate, but that is shit that like legitimately happens in society, in school. And it's like, even within schools, teachers aren't fully responsible for these kids and like what they do on the outside, because there's an interesting thing that happens where like the teachers, like they reopen the schools after the girl got murdered, and the teachers are just like discussing with one another, being like, what the fuck do we do? We've been getting like phone calls all day from parents being like, what are you going to do if somebody dies at the school? And they're like, it didn't happen at the school, it happened outside of the school. But it's like, yeah, but we don't know how kids are acting out these days and this and that. And it's just like,
It's real though.
god damn, like it's sad, but like that's how the world is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it is taken to like a more like heightened degree, especially with the school, because of the fact that like when you're in the school with like the police characters, the fucking teachers are yelling, they're fucking like telling the kids to shut up, the kids are fucking like beating each other, and it's just like this whole thing of like the systemic bullying, and then like how kids don't trust their teachers and then look for guidance somewhere else, and it's like it starts to become like you start to connect the pieces of being like that is what's happening, is that a lot of these young kids don't have somebody to talk to, so they go and they explore these other ideals of people that might resonate with them or might give them a false answer of like, okay, how do you solve your problem of you not getting women? Just be more dominant. And it's like, what the fuck does that mean? And it's like, be a man in front of them. It's like, but what does that mean? And it's like the insanity of like what it means to be a man in a man's world, because men are weak now, because if we show emotion, you know, that defines our weakness.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it. Adolescence. I'm almost done. Adolescence. I'm planning on watching the Devil May Cry anime, but we'll get to that at some point. Maybe in the next podcast.
It'd be a show.
Maybe.
Fred Durst, baby. Oh, I move in, I move out. Hands up or hands down. Back up, back up. What you want to do now? Keep rolling, 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 rolling.
All right, podcast over. All right, bye.